My husband let his family move into my house, and now they walk all over me.
Get him out of there.
This has been bothering me since 2024, and I am seeking out if I, 28 female, am going crazy or am the a-hole that my husband and his family are accusing me of being. 2024 was a major bad year. My husband, 39, call him John, convinced my sister-in-law, 33, her husband, 37, call him George, and my mother-in-law, 65, to move into my house from New York to Texas when they were expecting a newborn to be closer to family and help them save money for a house. By the way, this comes from Intrapella, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. We agreed on certain conditions. Their cat, I'm highly allergic, would stay in a gated area. They'd take the spaces, 2 guest rooms, master room, upstairs game, living room, and they'd pay $2,500 monthly rent, utilities included, far less than their $6,000 apartment in New York. This arrangement was decided despite me paying the mortgage and utilities entirely on my own. I grew up with a my house, my rules mentality, so I set basic expectations. Keep the house clean, respect the furniture, I had just purchased new pieces, and don't disturb my workplace. I work from home in the living room. John left 2 months after they moved in due to a job 6 hours away, and I was left alone to manage the household. When my sister-in-law, super pregnant at the time, and George first moved in, I told them basic expectations about maintaining the house and avoiding property damage. I noticed George was making a mess, and my sister-in-law was cleaning after him while she was pregnant and hurting. This bothered me, so I called him out on how he shouldn't make his wife do all this. I specifically called him out when he was laying on the couch and told her to fetch the massage device in the room when my sister-in-law felt super uncomfortable. My sister-in-law was still working from home, and her husband recently quit his job. He does day trading instead, but not making much money, and then plays games like Counter-Strike and chess on his computer. George complained about no Ethernet port upstairs. Then he opened the window and put out a long Ethernet cable to the master room that was located downstairs. Upon the electrician's arrival to install the Ethernet that he's paying for, they made loud noises and disturbed my sister-in-law and my work. Sister-in-law was furious about it. The electrician informed me that my attic has hornets, so I had to pause my work and called for an emergency pest control. Once that was dealt with, the electrician showed me a picture that the attic was missing a big chunk of insulation. So I had to deal with the home builder to refill since I was still in warranty. While I was working in the living room around 10:30 a.m., I had my meeting call. George comes down and makes a lot of disturbance and noise while cooking in the kitchen. I kindly asked him if he would refrain from cooking when I'm on a call, and it only takes 30 minutes. It didn't happen as much, but his action relapsed over time. I didn't notice, but he created a big grease stain on the kitchen cabinet because he constantly cooked bacon on high heat. I told both my sister-in-law and him to be careful next time. I was highly upset since we just got this house 3 months ago. While they were using the Tesla, I noticed they'd already ruined the car with a curb rash. I didn't tell my husband because I know he'll be pissed, but I had to cover $400 out of pocket to get it fixed. I also made an appointment to do a PPF wrap cover to prevent any further damage that cost me $3,000 out of pocket. Additionally, the car developed significant tar damage, costing another $400 to fix. George just said, okay, and never offered to pay. I've noticed he constantly uses the Tesla and kept using the tollway that I paid for and racking up the toll. I complained to my husband about it, and now I'm annoyed with George not respecting the house and the car we just bought. I also told him that I don't like how her husband is not treating her right while she's pregnant. This is all less than 1 month after moving in. My mother-in-law moved into the guest room to help out with the upcoming baby. I noticed she was cleaning up George's mess and tiptoeing around him not to disturb him while he was day trading or screaming his lungs out when he lost his Counter-Strike game. I was not okay that my mother-in-law was cleaning up George's mess all the time when she's there as a guest to relax until the baby comes, not do house chores. The cat peed on my couch, and George didn't clean it properly. He just dabbed it with a paper towel and called it a day. I was in the middle of a work meeting and didn't have time to explain how to clean it properly, so I handed him the BIL machine and told him to follow the instructions. Instead of reading them, he made the situation worse. After my call, I checked his work and the couch was still dirty. This wasted 1 to 2 hours of my work time. 4 days later, the cat peed on the couch again. This time, my mother-in-law sat on it. While in another work meeting, she informed me, and I paused my call to tell George to clean it immediately, since it was a biohazard. He ignored me, saying he'd do it later, even though he was just day trading for fun. And then you say no. You say, I'm sorry, you're in my house?
Clean it right now.
You are living in my house? Clean it now, or get out.
I do feel like, OP, you need to be a little bit stricter with this. They are terrible.
Yeah.
Lay down the law.
Lay down the law. 10 minutes passed, and mother-in-law had to clean part of it herself. I confronted him again, but he still refused to act. Mother-in-law went upstairs to explain the urgency, and I overheard George rudely ask her to clean it instead. His tone infuriated me. I went upstairs, yelled at him, and told him not to disrespect mother-in-law or expect her to handle his responsibilities. I broke down and told my husband what had happened. Instead of supporting me, he said my reaction was childish and asked me to apologize to George. I acknowledged that yelling wasn't ideal, but I'd given George multiple chances, and his dismissive attitude, especially towards mother-in-law, was unacceptable. I'm upset that my husband sided with his family instead of understanding my frustration. Why is my work treated as less important while George's hobbies are prioritized? Eventually, I apologized to George just to keep the peace, even though I still feel he was in the wrong. He never apologized back to mother-in-law or acknowledged his behavior. The whole situation left me feeling dismissed and disrespected in my own home. Over time, George continued pushing boundaries. He kept his day trading set up in the upstairs living room and would scream at his games well into the night. My sister-in-law gave birth in early June, and the house became even more chaotic. I tried to be understanding about the baby crying, but George's behavior didn't change. He still expected everyone else to clean up after him and do things for him while he sat at his computer. The cat continued to be a problem. Despite the agreement that it would stay in a gated area, it kept getting out and wandering around the house. My allergies were getting worse. I found cat hair on my furniture and had to keep taking allergy medication just to be comfortable in my own home. I brought this up multiple times, but nothing changed. I was also dealing with work stress. I had been laid off from my previous job and was doing interviews while trying to maintain the household. Constant interruptions from George's cooking, gaming, and general loudness made it incredibly difficult to focus during important calls. I felt like I couldn't even work effectively in my own home. My husband was still 6 hours away for work and would only visit occasionally. Every time I tried to talk to him about the issues, he would minimize my concerns or tell me I was being too sensitive. Nope. So at that point, we're kicking them out. We're divorcing your husband.
It's so hard because for so much of it, it was like, well, you don't want to kick him out because of the baby and everything. And it's like, sister-in-law's being great.
Sister-in-law can stay. I'd be like, hey, girl, if you want to stay, your husband's a piece of poop, a lazy little butt.
Yeah.
You can stay. Your husband's gone. My husband's gone. I am on the lease. I paid the mortgage.
Let's have a girly pop house.
He kept saying his family was just trying to save money and that I should be more accommodating. But I was the one paying all the bills, dealing with all the problems, and getting no support. George's family came to visit. I halted some of my interview prep and toured them around Austin. My husband came around the end of July to visit, but then I got an emergency message from my family that my grandpa was in the hospital, and that was critical. I booked my flight back to California when I had the biggest tech opportunity I needed to prep. I was in and out of the hospital for 2 weeks, dealing with 15 interviews. I didn't have a space or room to interview anywhere, and my immediate family does not know I was laid off. At that point, I'm literally saying, hey, husband, I got laid off because of your family.
Right. Can you get back here, please, and do something? Where was he again?
I don't know. He has like a job 6 hours away. Within the second week, my family and I witnessed his last breath in the hospital. My family and I hurried to figure out last-minute funeral arrangements. I paid out $20,000 of the $90,000 for the funeral. After the funeral, more family drama unraveled. I was able to get a job offer, but it was much lower income than I had had in the past, but it was better than nothing. I flew back and had 1 week break to recover. I was in a super depressed state and overwhelmed with a lot of things. I didn't want to be bothered and just wanted to recover in my bedroom for a bit. Between the funeral costs, the car repairs, helping my husband with his house emergency, and continuing to pay all the household bills while my in-laws lived there, my savings were depleting rapidly. I was more stressed financially about taking a big chunk of my savings, so I ended up signing up for the energy program, where the energy provider controls the thermostat for rebates. It saves about $100 per month. My in-laws were complaining about the temperature of the house to my husband. My husband messaged me at the time, but I was so depressed that I didn't respond to anyone or leave my room for 2 to 3 days. Then my husband blew up on me on the phone, and I explained I'm not controlling the thermostat. He said the baby is sweating and I should cancel the rebate immediately, but I said that it will take time and I have to wait until the next business day. My husband calls me materialistic and unwilling to prioritize family comfort.
I will say beyond family comfort.
Yeah.
Babies being too hot is really bad.
It's really bad. Yes, I agree with that. But
so maybe they should just get out.
Yeah, or maybe pay. Maybe you pay.
Yeah.
I think my husband and I agreed to a divorce at this point, and I just stopped caring because I'm really in deep depression and rock bottom. I didn't even feel safe within my own home. My husband finally suggested that he'll take over and cover the electricity bill. This only lasted 2 months. We talked it out, and I cried a lot because of how I felt through all this year, and I felt how unfair it was. My husband was gaslighting me that I was the problem and the fault, and did not take accountability that his emotional response by blowing this out of proportion caused all this problem in the first place. Out of frustration, I told him I gave up my dreams to support his dream. I thought we initially agreed to move to Seattle soon, but I got stuck living in Texas, which I was super unhappy about. He was super dismissive that I was selfish and I never sacrificed anything. Yes, I'm dumb for taking him back. I originally planned to give away my Lexus to my siblings to use for college. They needed a reliable car. My brother had been asking before we bought the Tesla. I told my husband that I wanted to give my Lexus away, but I couldn't since the Tesla is his car. My sister-in-law and George had 3 months to look for a car. They barely looked until the last 2 weeks. Eventually, I shipped the Lexus, and I used the Tesla as my daily drive to work. My sister-in-law and George got a brand new Tesla Model 3. They bought a brand new Tesla Model 3 and they can't freaking rent out an apartment? I've noticed they barely drive their car and are extra careful, but literally do not give a crap about our Tesla. This double standard bothered me immensely. They treated their own property with care, but had no respect for mine. At this timeline, my husband had a house problem back in Dallas and didn't have the savings to fix the water damage. I gave him $10,000 because that is an emergency fund that I allocated for. Meanwhile, I was still paying the full mortgage and utilities while only receiving $2,500 from my in-laws. Within a month, I started focusing on myself and improving my mental health. I went to work overtime. I started going to the gym every day, leaving me Saturday to run errands and Sunday as my only rest day. My mother-in-law was not living with us, so the whole month with my sister-in-law and George, it was normal. It was going well, and my relationship with my husband was better. My mother-in-law came back again, staying with us to help out watching the baby since my sister-in-law is returning to work in October. And when I started my new job, I told everyone that the company I worked for is very private and secretive. I work from home on Monday and Friday. The living room is actually off limits since they're not allowed to see my monitor screens or hear me when I'm discussing in meetings. Nice.
Go OP.
Yeah, sorry, you actually can't come in because you'll get arrested.
Super top secret.
Sorry. The company I worked for monitors everything on my work laptop. I got slapped on the wrist the first week when my manager noticed someone was in the background. I told the same scenario to my mother-in-law. She acknowledged. But the following week, she went to the living room with the baby. My husband came down to visit the family and me again for the short holiday weekend. Out of nowhere, my mother-in-law said she doesn't feel respected in the house and blamed me for being disrespectful. My sister-in-law and George were like, "What the F is mother-in-law talking about?" My husband did not listen and said I was being selfish. Divorce this man.
Yeah, we're so back and forth with this dude.
Divorce this stinky man. He stinks.
Stinky.
My mother-in-law mentioned about the living room, and I've been telling everyone the reason it's off limits while I was working. My husband blew up that I was being a witch and a dictator. I was so fed up and tired having this conversation again, and I blurted out, "Do you want a divorce then?" in front of his family. "Yes, I want you to have a divorce." He packed up, left the house, and drove back down. When I was discussing with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law and George, there was a whole misunderstanding. It was hours of conversation. My mother-in-law was telling me how come I don't spend time with the family. Hello, I just got back from being laid off, witnessing a passing right in front of me, and I'm heads down working and don't have time. She keeps invalidating my responses. My sister-in-law and I explained to my mother-in-law I am an introvert and I stay in the room to recover. She said she feels better spending time with family. I'm super exhausted from this conversation. What pisses me off is when she says, "This is John's house." I explained to the family it's not, because I paid for this with my own money, and he never contributed to anything since day one. I had paid the down payment. I paid the mortgage every month. I pay all the utilities. I pay for repairs and maintenance. My husband hasn't contributed a single dollar to this house. Yet somehow his family felt entitled to dictate how I should run it and make me feel like a guest in my own home. They tried to lecture me like this is family and it's wrong to implement rules. And I told them I put rules because y'all are ruining my property. I worked super hard for it. My in-laws started gaslighting me that I never told them the rules about my new job and the space is off limits when I'm working. I had told them multiple times, but they acted like I never said anything. At this point, I was ganged up about the car. I had the plan since the beginning, before my in-laws moved to give it away. George starts invalidating my family's upbringing and dissing them and me in front of my face. George is super privileged. He grew up with his parents paying for everything. George brought up the cat pee incident, and I was being a crybaby and being rude. I explained to my sister-in-law what happened, and she agreed that he shouldn't have asked mother-in-law to do it. I was surprised that my mother-in-law ganged up and defended George, that his stock exchange was more important than my job.
Oh my God.
His not job is more important than her job?
Yeah, him playing video games is more important than her job.
This was the final straw. My actual career, which was paying for the roof over their heads, was considered less important than George playing with stocks for fun. I feel like my efforts to accommodate my in-laws have been dismissed, and my sacrifices have gone unrecognized. My husband has consistently prioritized his family's needs over mine, leaving me feel unsupported and disrespected in my own home. The repeated conflicts and lack of accountability from my in-laws and husband have taken a toll on my mental health. By the way, it would take a toll on your health if you didn't listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story.
I just need you to get these people out of your house
already. Get them out of your house.
They're not listening. They're being so disrespectful.
Exorcism.
They're like weirdly sometimes agreeing with you and then completely changing their mind.
It's so strange. Get them out. Divorce your husband.
Suck. Whatever he is.
Sucks.
Now.
There's a little bit left. The in-laws moved out of the house to a new house they bought a block from my house. Apparently, they had over $100,000 down deposit sitting there already, while I was panicking on my end and dealing with my husband's debt. I'm becoming resentful and would just like to get a divorce and get it over. Do you think this relationship is salvageable at this point?
No.
Am I wasting effort and energy trying to convince my husband to make him understand my POV and what's unfair?
Yep.
I tried couples therapy in the past, but he does not like that idea and unwilling to participate. Then dump him. My mother-in-law blew up because we wouldn't spend Thanksgiving with her.
Those are some explosive family dynamics.
Before my husband and I got engaged almost 2 years ago, my mother-in-law made several hurtful comments in front of me. She said things like, "I didn't need a real diamond ring because I probably would lose it. And the first marriage is basically just a trial." Those comments stuck with me. By the way, this comes from Abbreviations Fit 1864. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I am Matt.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Once wedding planning began, my husband asked both his mom and dad if they could help financially. My family was very generous and supportive, but his mom said back in February 2024 that she wouldn't know what work bonus would be for March 2025, so she couldn't commit to helping. We understood, but it still felt like a no. Around that same time, my family hosted an engagement dinner and included everyone. Parents, grandparents, siblings. My husband's side showed up but didn't offer to help or contribute in any way. Then, in October 2024, mother-in-law announced she was planning a 5 to 6K trip to Europe for her 50th birthday right before our wedding. She brushed it off with, "That's not that bad." Meanwhile, she continued to spend money freely on concerts, hotels, exercise equipment, etc. The money wasn't really the issue, it was the message. She was willing to invest thousands into herself, but not even show interest in our wedding. She never asked how planning was going or offered to help. Instead, she and my husband's grandmother mainly complained about hair appointments, the hotel, the venue change, pricing, etc. It was draining. The lack of effort showed in other ways too. She always expects us to travel to her. She's an hour and a half away. Never offers to come to us, and conversations usually revolve around her life, not ours. When it came to my bachelorette, I invited my friends, my family, and my husband's sister. I didn't invite mother-in-law because of how uncomfortable she makes me. After photos were posted online, his grandmother commented, "Where is the mother of the groom?" and blew up at my mom, cursing at her and calling me a liar. Mother-in-law never stepped in to stop the drama. When my husband confronted her, she blamed me, said I was pulling him away from his family, and guilt-tripped him about all she's done financially for him in the past. Car insurance, phone bill, college, etc.
I feel like a lot of these parents fail to conceptualize that when people enter a relationship, they are naturally going to be pulled away.
Yeah.
And it's also their child's decision to spend their time with the new relationship partner.
Exactly. And maybe make yourself, likable so they actually want to spend time with you.
Like if they like spending time with you, then they'll spend more time with you. If you continually push them away and act insane like this, show that you're not the priority, call it a trial wedding, then there's no way that they're going to want to be around you.
Mother-in-law did show up at my bridal shower, but didn't bring a gift or offer to help with anything, unlike other guests who pitched in and offered to help my mom. Later that night, she sent $250 on Zelle, claiming she forgot the card in her car. 5 months later, the card still hasn't appeared. At the rehearsal, she spent most of the time on her phone showing off her new boyfriend. At dinner, she was on her phone again. On her wedding day, she made a snarky comment about me ruining my husband's dream of going to Notre Dame because he chose to attend college near me. She gave me an oddly long hug before our first look, sobbed heavily during the mother-son dance, not a happy cry, and neither she nor his grandparents even signed our photo mat guest book. After the wedding, she expected us to travel to her for my husband's birthday dinner. Again, making it all about her convenience. Later, when we got our wedding photos, my family asked to see them right away because they were genuinely excited. His side never asked, but weeks later, mother-in-law got upset that my family saw them first. Instead of being happy for us or even complimenting the photos, she made it about herself again. In short, mother-in-law has repeatedly shown disinterest, disrespect, and a lack of effort toward both me and our marriage. The money is one thing, but her attitude and lack of care hurt more. She has never apologized or acknowledged any of it. Now she's assuming we'll spend the Friday after Thanksgiving at her house. Again, an hour and a half away. I don't want to go, and I don't think my husband should feel guilty if we decide not to. I've given her multiple chances to be respectful, involved, and supportive. She's shown repeatedly that she doesn't value the relationship with me or her son. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to spend time with my mother-in-law? And we've got some comments.
I find it difficult to think that anybody in general wants to spend time with this woman, much less
the woman, the people that are actively being harassed by her.
Like, what have you done that has made her want to spend time with you? And also, like, is there something that OP potentially did to sour the relationship? Possibly
she's just obsessed with her son.
I don't think that there is.
But like in her mother-in-law's
there could have been
mind.
something that like unconsciously OP did that maybe like, oh, he's not good enough, or maybe it was just that he's not going to Notre Dame in the beginning, kind of a thing. But no, there's not the a-hole did nothing wrong.
Agreed.
If someone wants people to spend time around them, they have to make themselves someone who people want to spend time with.
Yeah,
it's not a rocket science concept.
I feel like sometimes you meet people and they're like, like I always have friends who like leave and no one wants to hang out. It's so hard trying to get. And you're like, well,
common denominator, probably, I suppose.
Common one. Option number one, the adult option. Don't go visit her. Tell your husband he can have a relationship with her, but you're done. You're not going to suck it up and put up with her disrespecting you at any point in the future, and that includes if you two have children. If she wants to change her tune, she can come to you and prove she'll be nice, but you're not going to exert any effort to go to her. Option number two, the petty option. Tell your husband you'll go one more time, but any perceived slight will be met with you telling her exactly what you think of her, minus any type of filter you would normally have, which should take care of you being asked to go in the future. It's probably better to choose a path where you're acting like an adult, but it sure feels good being extra petty when people deserve it. OP says it's funny because she has yet to say anything in person. Anytime we saw her, it's all about her. So there's no room for comments because she talks about herself the entire time. I don't want to go at all. And there is an update. This past Thursday, my mother-in-law texted my husband with the plan for Thanksgiving, as if we had already agreed to go. We hadn't. My husband told her we didn't want to make the drive. There are other unresolved issues, but we didn't want to get into them again. She pushed back, saying there would be no traffic the day after Thanksgiving, and that his grandparents were driving 5.5 hours to see everyone. We stood firm and said we still wouldn't be coming because there are several unresolved issues. She immediately replied, "What issues?" So my husband listed a few examples. Her response was basically, "How was I supposed to know if no one tells me?" Which is frustrating because he did try talking to her months ago, and she shut him down, deflected the blame, and played victim. I also texted her directly explaining my perspective and the issues I've had. Instead of listening, she doubled down. She said, "I make everything about me and my family, that I only have issues with her side, and that she feels like she's being punished for not contributing financially to our wedding." She completely dismissed every valid point we made. She also threw in some personal digs, saying she never treated me poorly or excluded me while we were dating, claiming my husband only proposed because I gave him an ultimatum, which isn't true at all. My husband and I joke a lot. I may have made a joking comment about this. Never to her, though, because I was with my husband for 7.5 to 8 years and wanted to know his long-term intentions at that point. She also said she kept quiet about a lot because it's his life. Then she told my husband she sees him doing everything and anything for me, and that she doesn't see the same from me toward him. All of this because we said we weren't coming for Thanksgiving. We pointed out examples of her past behavior, like not signing our guest book when literally everyone else did, and being glued to her phone the entire rehearsal dinner. She made excuses for everything. It was busy, I forgot, etc., and took no accountability for anything. After that, my husband's sister texted him saying, "Great job making mom cry," and guilt-tripped him about how could he treat their mom this way after everything she's done for him for 23 years. Student loans, car insurance, college, etc. Basically the same old narrative, guilt and blame instead of reflection. In response, my husband sent this. "Told you back then it wasn't even about the money. At the rehearsal dinner, you were on your phone the entire time. How do you think that made me feel, seeing my mom do that before my wedding? Not sure who told you about the ultimatum thing, but that was never serious. She would never do that, and I would never make a decision based on that. And yes, of course, I'm going to do anything and everything for my wife. She's my wife after all. I don't appreciate you disrespecting her. So until that stops, apologies are made, and actions have changed. I have nothing more to say." After that, his mom tried to call him, but he didn't answer. That same day, his grandma texted saying, "Your grandpa and I are driving 5.5 hours, but your mom said you didn't even want to drive. We were hoping to see everyone." He didn't respond. The following day, she texted again, "So I guess we won't be seeing you for the holidays." He still didn't reply. By the way, you can reply to us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. At this point, my husband or I doesn't want to talk to any of them because every attempt he's made to communicate has been twisted or met with guilt and deflection. My birthday is this week, and I honestly don't think I'll respond to any of them if they even say anything to me. I'm completely fed up with them crossing boundaries. Am I the a-hole, or are we the a-hole? Your mother-in-law sucks. But that's the end of that story, and we've got another one coming right up.
My family friend treated me awfully when he learned that I have friends with benefits.
Is he jealous?
He is 60 and single, and I'm 24 years old and female.
I hope he's not jealous.
I have a full-time job, but they've cut back on overtime, and I have been trying to pay off some credit card debt. At first, I was looking for a second job, but a family friend told me that he was doing construction on his house and building a shed in his backyard and said I could help for extra money. I gladly accepted because I used to help my stepdad with construction during the summers. By the way, this comes from ShyGirl141, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. And Opie says, everything was good. I went to his house, and he showed me what needed to be done and asked if I was still willing to do it. I said yes. My first day of work was the next day. He took me to get breakfast first, and then we started working at his place. He was polite and kept saying he would gladly find more things for me to work on because he wanted to help me make money, knowing how badly I needed it. He said he was glad to help and was very kind. I finished 10 days of work and was paid. He started texting me general conversations and I would respond. He had more work for me and I was glad to accept. He bought my favorite snacks and drinks so I could be comfortable while working. He said he just wanted to make sure I had everything I needed because he appreciated my help. One night, it was getting late, and he offered to let me sleep on his couch since he was tired and he was my ride home. But I told him I was comfortable in my own bed. On the way home, we had a casual conversation, and he mentioned being a bachelor for years, which is why his house was so messy. I laughed and said, well, I'm single too, but I just have a friends with benefits. We love each other, but I'm not ready for a relationship. The rest of the ride was normal. 2 days later, I asked if he had any more work because I needed extra money. He wouldn't respond. Or when he did, he made up reasons why he didn't need my help. Sometimes he gave me smart remarks that sounded mean-spirited. One day, I reminded him that if he needed help, I was still available since I really needed grocery money. He sent a long message saying that a real man would take care of his woman and that it was sad and pathetic that I had to work side jobs to make money. He said he would take care of his woman so she wouldn't have to stoop so low. His response really shocked me and hurt my feelings. I just wanted to make some extra money. My friends with benefits helps me out financially when I need it.
Insane.
But I don't like relying on anyone and prefer to take care of myself. I don't think I was being pathetic. Why is he treating me this way? What did I do wrong?
Zero.
Literally nothing wrong. This man's
wrong.
Just got his panties in a twist that you don't want to date him.
As much as I am bamboozled by your relationship situation, or lack thereof.
Well, it's not a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's how she wants it.
That is not what you're asking here. And you have done zero wrong in terms
but Sophia
of the
is
main part of the
judging
story. Just a little bit. I just don't understand, but that's okay. I don't need to.
Comment 1. Mom here. Honey, please remember that as an adult who works and makes your own money, you don't owe anyone who isn't paying your bills or providing a roof over your head your business.
True.
You don't owe them explanations. You don't have to justify having a friends with benefits, not even to us. This supposed friend was trying to get into your pants. That's it. It sucks to find out that he was not motivated by kindness, but now that you know, please punt him and his vile, butthurt comments out of your head. Please start practicing keeping your cards close to your chest. Opie says, you're right. You're so right. I guess I was being a bit naive. But I just hate to be one of those people who think all men have ulterior motives. Now it's starting to look like most men just can't do nice things out of the goodness of their hearts. I demo nice things all of the time for people and don't get anything in return, or expect it. He injured his hand at work, has severe nerve damage, and couldn't complete the work on his house, and I volunteer to help, and all he can think about is getting spicy sleep? Pathetic! Comment 2, yo, stay away from this dude. No offense, lady, but you're really naive to think this man was paying you for side jobs out of the kindness of his heart. No problem with doing the jobs and getting paid, but all that extra crap you did, like having breakfast, staying the night, and having casual conversation, was giving him the impression that he had a chance. He clearly wants to get his wiener wet.
Ew.
And since you're claiming that's out of the realm of possibility, then stay away and block him, because these are warning signs of a potentially dangerous relationship. Also, be more mindful in the future when people are super kind and generous for no good reason. Most people like that have bad intentions. Also, he was low-key offering you a job as his sugar baby. You'd be surprised how many women and men your age will lay up with an old rich effer for free rent and a hearty allowance. That's what he was getting at with saying the side jobs are pathetic and your buddy should be taking care of you. We have an update. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I do think he wanted you to be his sugar baby.
Yeah. And at that point, now we know, and now we cut him off.
Unless you want to be a sugar baby.
I suppose, yes.
I sent him a text message giving him a piece of my mind. I said a lot of things, including that I never wanted to see or work for him again, and that what he said was extremely disrespectful. I told him he seemed jealous and should have just been upfront about his intentions. I was always professional and never flirted with him. He was mad that he bought all my favorite snacks and drinks for my first day at work, but I didn't ask for any of that. I packed my own lunch and even told him before he bought them that it wasn't necessary. I'm glad I got all of it out because I feel better now. I'm still in shock that he actually called me pathetic for wanting a side gig to make extra money for my savings account. I have a full-time job, but there's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money, especially when I have student loans to pay off. My job cut back on overtime, and when I messaged him before he called me pathetic, I mentioned that I could use some extra grocery money, so I wouldn't mind helping on my day off. For him to respond like that shows what kind of a person he really is. If he actually cared about me, he wouldn't have said those things. He injured his hand at work and had nerve damage, which made it hard to finish his house construction. I offered to help, and he offered to pay me, knowing I was looking for a second job. It wasn't like I was asking for free money. I worked hard while still maintaining a full-time job. It was wrong for him to talk badly about my friend, who I'm spicy sleepily involved with. My friend has always been there for me, helping me through anxiety and depression when no one else would. He always gave me a shoulder to cry on and helped financially whenever he could. But I've always been the type of person who doesn't like asking for money from anyone, not even my parents. I'd rather earn the money myself or go without. He doesn't know my friend and shouldn't have spoken badly about him. He even mentioned that he's had friends with benefit relationships himself and didn't see anything wrong with them.
Just, future reference. Don't tell the 60-year-old man that you work for that you're in a friends with benefits relationship. That's just like, it doesn't mean that, you brought any of this on yourself at all. Know what I'm saying? But, yeah. Employer doesn't need to know that.
When I told my mom about this mean and aggressive behavior, she said he had been happy lately and had just gotten a promotion, so his behavior toward me seemed personal. And by the way, you guys will be happy to know that there's more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up Oki Storytime. We got quite a bit left.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just don't work for this guy anymore, and we're
We
good,
just
right?
We quit from this job,
Yeah, which
We
you already
stopped.
did.
and then we find another one
This creepy old man thought, if I buy her favorite snacks
on the first day.
on the first day of that she's working for
Yeah.
me,
That's crazy.
that means we can be together.
icky,
Yeah,
man.
If she accepts it and doesn't say anything about it, we're gonna be together.
Do not like it.
Do not like. Of course, she was angry and disgusted with him. The family even tried to set him up on a date with a woman his own age, but he kept saying he wasn't interested and didn't mind being single. I didn't expect him to act this way toward me. The woman we tried to set him up with was beautiful, had a successful career, and had a lot in common with him. Thanks everyone for their advice and help. We have some comments. Comment 1, he's butthurt because he was making covert contracts where he helped you, then you fell for him in some way that would lead to spicy sleep. Covert contracts are where he has a conversation with you in his head and doesn't tell you what you've agreed to. He makes the contract with you covertly. And while he may have had the fantasy of getting together with you, it was just a fantasy in his head because he knew you didn't agree to it. But he had the hope because he'd told himself that there was no way a guy like him could ever end up with a gal like you, but he had the hope. And that hope is playing on repeat in his head. And it was probably escalating the more time you spent with him, all the way to, hey, sleep on my couch. Because, maybe you would, and maybe eventually decide that his bed was better than this couch. He had the hope. And all of this was fine and innocent enough, although crossing over to creepy with the couch sleeping offer, until he learned that you had a friends with benefits. That crap punting around his head went full on next level with jealousy, envy, and rage. How dare you rather have spicy sleep with some rando friends with benefits than a guy like him who has done so much, in his mind, to be overly nice to help you out. His rejection complex went to overdrive at that point. He was trying to help you. He was being nice to you and doing nice things to you. And of course, you were supposed to want to do things back to him. Not some other friends with benefits who doesn't even care for you like he does. He cares for you. The classical nice guy behavior to the max. There's a reason he's still single. It's because he was never taught how healthy relationships work. He probably learned from his mom from a young age that you be nice to women and then they are nice to you in turn. And that's just how he thinks relationships work too. Did I mention there's a reason he's still single? Because it's this. He has probably been mad at all of the women in his life at some point that didn't have spicy sleep with him after he was nice to them. And he can't figure out what he's doing wrong. He does nice things to them. They need to do nice things for him. Yeah, it's a really unhealthy dynamic, but one that's common in guys that never figured out how relationships work. That's the end of that.
My fiance's sister blackmailed her way into our wedding. The whole family turned on her.
Yeah, blackmailer back.
I, 28 female, am recently engaged to my partner of 5 years, 27 male. We have been planning for this day for a while, and we just announced the engagement last week. By the way, this comes from Not Your Friend 2399. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know your thoughts in the comments. And OP says, we were originally just planning for the wedding to be in December 2021, but my fiance's brother is deployed and won't be able to take leave, so we're now planning for May 2022. My fiance's sister, 38 female, let's call her Megan, has been engaged for about a year, but has never actually announced it or even spoken about it with anyone, including family. We only know because she wears a ring and occasionally slips and calls her SO fiance. When she learned we were engaged, she acted happy, but then started talking horrible things about us to her mom, Susie. Before we selected this date, I asked Megan and her Susie if they had any wedding dates picked or planned so that we don't interfere since they were engaged first, and below are the responses I got. Megan said, "What are you talking about? Why would I have plans? Do you think I'm getting married? Who said that?" You said that, actually, because you have a ring on your finger. Hello. Hi. Susie, Megan has not told me about the engagement firsthand, so I don't believe there are any plans, and I know of nothing, so you should be clear. Based off of these responses, we picked a date and a venue and set a deposit and mailed the save the dates. Much to Megan's dislike. She called my fiancé screaming at him for picking the weekend of her wedding, that she had planned for that all along, and was still trying to get her things in order to place a deposit and announce it. She called me all kinds of names and told him I'm an a-hole and a witch for ruining her big day. The next day, I screenshot her text and sent it to Megan and asked her how she could be mad when I asked her point blank about the dates. And she said, I quote, "I figured you'd pick any other day of the 365 days, but not that one." Well, gee whiz, Megan, maybe you should have used your words and said that, because now it sounds like you're just full of it.
I mean, she literally did not give them a date and was like, "Oh no, like what wedding? I don't know what you mean. What? I'm not getting married. What?" And then she's like, "Oh, okay, do the days." She's like, "I'm getting married that day. How
Yes.
dare you?"
She was just waiting for you to pick your date so she could go, "That's mine."
Yeah, I feel like any day you would have picked, she would have been like, "Oh, why
Yeah.
not?" Like, just say like, "Oh, tentatively, we're thinking this date."
She's got some kind of weird complex going on. Something's going on there. I said I was sorry and that I could try to reschedule and see if our venue will change our date with the deposit. Honestly, that's even more nice than she deserves.
Yeah.
Anyways, I tried, but the venue won't budge. We would lose the deposit, and the next open date that we liked isn't until November of 2022, and that's just too long. So we both agreed that we would keep our date since she hasn't spent a single dime on her wedding, and she could pick a new day since she didn't disclose it to us when asked. Megan obviously hates this and is threatening actions on us. All different kinds of threats so far. Am I the a-hole for picking my date before Megan and not changing it now that she's upset? My fiance's family is split, and some think we are the a-hole and others that Megan is. So we turn to Reddit. Who's the a-hole? And there is an update. But it's clear that you did everything right.
She didn't give you a date, so you booked it, not knowing, because she didn't tell you. And then she's like, how dare you pick my date that I didn't tell you anything about? Make it make sense.
This is the same energy as like, it's cold out. And you're hanging out with someone, and you're going to leave. And you're like, you should bring a jacket. It's cold. They go, I don't need a jacket. I'm fine. Are you sure it's cold? I'm telling you, it's cold outside, and you should bring a jacket. I don't need one. And then, fast forward, and they're like, I'm so cold. Give me your jacket. You're like, no, this is my jacket now. I brought my jacket. Get your own jacket. I don't know.
Then they're like, how dare you? How dare you do that to me? It's like, girl, what? I asked you point blank. Months in advance. Months. Like, girl, please.
Yeah. We've got an update. Over the next 15 days, Megan called screaming at us on Friday, the 30th of July. We spoke to the venue on the 30th and 31st. We spoke to Megan and the rest of the family on the 31st. The threats Megan made towards us were not physical threats of harm, more so threats to cause us to be outcasts from the family and to ruin our wedding day or curse our future children, wishing something unwell to them. Okay, that's insane. Who's on her side? Who is on the side of the girl cursing the children?
Yeah.
She also threatened to get us fired from our jobs, but we aren't sure how she would accomplish that. Yesterday morning, Susie called Megan to try and get her to settle down and to see she had at least 3 opportunities since we announced the engagement to inform us if there was a date. About 30 minutes after that call, my fiance got a text from Megan. If anyone knows how I can attach the screenshot, please let me know. The text read, after speaking with Mother, I will agree to move my date on the condition that I am a bridesmaid in your wedding. This is the only way I'd consider giving up my wedding date for you. Clearly that is not happening. And I called Susie and Megan and explained why that is not an option. Yeah, because clearly she would use that to ruin your wedding.
That is just point blank exactly what she's going to do.
Megan.
There's no hiding it.
Yeah. Megan again lost it and said, then she is taking our date and it's hers now. My fiance jumped in with the support of his family, now completely behind us, because she was actually trying to blackmail us and said the following. Megan, you're not going to get our date. You're not going to be a bridesmaid. You're, at this point, not even invited to our wedding. It saddens us to say that, but you can't be a rational adult, and we don't have time to babysit on our wedding day. If you choose to have your wedding on the same day, clearly we will not be attending. This is driving a wedge in our family, and you need to act like a 38-year-old woman who is a mother of 2, and not like you're a 2-year-old. I feel like I'm seeing 38-year-old mother of 2. She's got some kind of complex about getting married after. She needs to be married. She needs it so bad.
She's like a Karen.
It's making
She's like,
her...
nope, no. This is going to make her go completely insane,
She
just
is
so you know.
frying her brain. Susie then added that if there are 2 weddings on one day, the family would inevitably have to pick sides. And since everyone except her brother, who's deployed overseas, was on the call, they voted, and not a single family member outside Susie and her SO would be attending her wedding. By the way, everyone that you know can attend full episodes with stories just like this on their favorite podcast platform like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to us all day long. There's a little bit more story here. Let's finish it. I like where we're at. She's not going. You're not going. The family's on your side. You hate to see it, but she's gone crazy.
I love to see it.
The call ended around 5 p.m., and around 5 hours passed before we got an email from her saying she is leaving the family and will not be contacting us again. Let me play the world's smallest violin for that tragedy. She had a lot of other reasons than the ones listed, and it clearly took her most of the 5 hours to type it up. The family is not shocked, and most expect she will be back in touch in the next 6 months anyway, since this is a common trend. So our wedding day is now our wedding day. And yes, passwords are already in place, so she can't do anything about it. passwords are in place. All right, nice. That's the end of that story.
I mean, good. Screw her. She's a nightmare. And I feel like if she were to come, like, even if you were going to be nice and invite her, she would make it horrible. It would be a horrible time. And you'd be like, dude, you can't even, like, just suck it up. Like, crazy how this could have been just avoided by you telling us that you were going to get married on this date. Don't keep it a secret,
Yeah.
dummy.
Well, again, I think that was her plan. Is she wasn't going to say a date, and whatever date you would pick, then it would become the date she wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She wanted to make this some sort of war, a wedding war.
Yeah. And
She lost. She lost spectacularly.
fortunately, no one took your side.
That is the end of that story.
My brother-in-law still acts like a child. How do we help him change?
Tell him to grow up.
Is this normal behavior? Is he a self-absorbed personality? To put some context, my husband and brother-in-law are 2 sons. My husband is the eldest, 38, and brother-in-law is the younger one, 36. Both my father-in-law and mother-in-law keep telling us to talk to brother-in-law to sort out his issues. By the way, this comes from Original Natural 8865, and if you want to submit your own stories just like this, go to the r/storytime subreddit. I am Matt.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Vincent.
But we're here to give good advice, Goofily. We don't have all the answers. Who does? We only know what we would do in these situations, so let us know what you would do in this situation. His issues. He got married quite early, even before me and my husband, and then got divorced in 2020. There was a big communication gap between the couple. The lady cheated on him. As per her, he was a big baby instead of a man. He used to come to mother-in-law's house to do his laundry even after marriage, made 0 contributions in housework, and always complained about money. They fought a lot over his money and her money. They apparently dated each other for 8 years before getting married. She mentally and physically checked out of the relationship while he completely blamed her and remained the victim in the whole situation. No one knows what they talked about in their relationship. She was a non-vegetarian and he never told his parents, which led to her hiding eggs when they visited. She never wanted kids, but he says he always did. She drank and smoked on very occasional basis and he had issues with that. He said he assumed she would quit everything after getting married. The girl worshipped him before marriage. She filled out his college forms, his loan form, his insurance. She was like his second mother for the last 8 years before marriage. Even before marriage and after divorce, he kept saying he wanted to be independent and move out of the house, but then came running back in a few weeks or months. He has shifted to at least 6 to 7 houses in the last 10 years and left each place after a few weeks or months. Once he even made the in-laws shift with him, saying, "Let's move to a better house considering my mother-in-law's health condition and the lack of a lift in the current house." From there also he came running back in 2 months, claiming he got dreams about the in-laws house and its walls during the night. He laughingly said to us he likes chickening out of such situations and going back to his secure place. Secure because he doesn't need to pay rent and only does some random house expenses from time to time to justify doing something for the family. He always talks about money, and if by mistake he spends on anyone else, he will keep reminding that person about it every time. He keeps saying, "I did this for you, and I did this for you, and that for you."
Oh, so every time he pays for something, he's like,
Every expense
well,
is...
yeah, I feel like he's the type of person to go to a restaurant and be like, "Oh, no, it's on me. And then,
Remember that one time I paid for your food?
I paid for your food. Remember when we went In-N-Out and I bought your burger? And they're like, it was $4, dude.
Every
Say it.
expense is a weapon. You can't have a single conversation with him without him mentioning his money or portfolio. He's doing well professionally, so he leaves no stone unturned to brag endlessly. Oh God, he's talking about his portfolio. He's like a Wall Street boy. He's a Wall Street bro. He never asks about you or how you are. He just keeps talking about his health, his work, and his life. He likes being secretive to such an extent that he lives in his own delusional world. He says harsh things to others, then denies saying them the next second. Even if you show him proof, he'll deny it. Since his divorce, he has been staying with the in-laws. He keeps bad-mouthing me and my husband to them, saying, "Look who's staying with you and taking care of you." Mind you, it's him who needs their presence, not the other way around. He cannot sleep alone at night and can't even watch horror movies. Once he watched a horror movie with friends, then came running back to the in-laws' home instead of going to his flat with his roommates. His living with the in-laws has had a very negative impact on them. They keep fighting because of him and now barely speak to each other. He has spread so much negativity between them that even if they live alone, they don't talk at all. Mother-in-law also kind of depends on him for emotional support and often gangs up with him against father-in-law. Mother-in-law keeps saying He's small. We need to take care of him. He's been hurt.
Ew.
He's scared. Mind you, he's a 36-year-old man.
Ew. See, this is what's happening. We have parents that baby their 36-year-old child, their little man child, and now this is why he acts like that, because he's never been told to just tough it up, man.
I will admit it's very nice not having to pay rent.
Yeah.
However,
course.
there cuts to a point where you
Well,
are
it's just-
letting it destroy
Yeah.
both your life and the life of people around you.
The problem is that there's a lot
It's
of
not
people.
like it's like he can't afford it. He can
Yeah.
afford it very easily.
Exactly. There's tons of people who live with their parents. Totally reasonable for many different reasons. In this case, all areas of his life are just him being babied, him being catered to by his parents, and it's just ridiculous.
When he did his MBA, instead of going to the main college, he chose a secondary site a few hours away from home so he could come home every weekend. Many of these habits developed because of mother-in-law's nature. Because of him, we've had many family interventions, but none have worked. Communication is a big issue in this family. Everyone avoids confrontation and wants to keep everything under wraps instead of talking about it in front of him. He's been in therapy since 2018. Is he a self-absorbed personality? It hasn't helped the family at all. As an outsider, I was shocked by his behavior. He'll ask for a paratha in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. and mother-in-law will make it. I've told her several times,
Lord.
he's not little or hurt. He's entitled and spoiled. We fought many times because I can't accept his behavior of hurting everyone while expecting us to walk on eggshells around him. Every human being goes through tragedies in life, but that doesn't mean you can play the victim in every situation. He creates situations himself and then asks why I even react, saying I'm not part of the family. He can't digest that when he does something wrong, I question him instead of brushing it under the rug like everyone else. My husband and I have completely cut him off for a year now. I've personally blocked him because I can't sacrifice my mental health anymore, and there is an update. This year in June, he fought with father-in-law and left the house over money as usual. Then in July, he found some girl, met her parents in another city, and even went abroad to meet her brother and his family. He came back to India, informed his parents at the last minute, and made them meet her for dinner the same day. He never asked us to meet her or even talk to her on a phone call, which is fine. We directly met her at the Roca. The girl is sweet, and hopefully she's strong enough to handle him and his habits. He's told my in-laws not to mention his past to the girl or her family. He says he's already told them, so we shouldn't say anything. Fair enough, but I don't trust his communication skills. He's ashamed of bringing the girl to the in-laws' house. Yes, the same house he used to call his secure place because he feels inferior to the girl's family and thinks they might reject him after seeing the house. He is ashamed of his parents. Yes, the same parents who have supported him blindly through every mistake. Apparently, they're not educated enough compared to the girl's parents. According to him, he's created an image for himself that we shouldn't spoil. We met the girl's family.
He's like, I'm lying to them. Don't tell.
Shh, I'm living a deception.
They don't know who I am. Don't tell them.
I told them I'm Obama.
Don't tell them otherwise. They don't know.
We met the girl's family during the Roca. They're down to earth and humble. It seems everything is just in his head. And even if they are money-minded, what's the guarantee she'll stay with him if hard times come? We can't have a two-way conversation with him. He just announces things and my in-laws follow. He doesn't want a family. He wants puppets, saying yes to him all the time. I've told my in-laws that if they keep pushing us to talk to him, they'll lose us. Let him live his life and make his mistakes. He needs to face consequences to grow up. We're standing firm on keeping our distance. God bless my husband. He finally told his parents, just because I don't cry and complain like he does doesn't mean we don't have our struggles. We act like grown-ups and have proper conversations with you. If you keep taking his side because he's a 36-year-old crybaby, then we've had enough. We're done. By the way, you don't have to be done with us. You can listen to full episodes just like this one. Just go to r/OK Storytime on your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to stuff like this, and listen to more stuff just like this. There's another relevant update, but any update for you, Sophia? Is there any
No.
hope for this guy?
No.
I've pointed out a few of brother-in-law's issues here, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. The guy is
no.
delusional, and what scares me most is his new fiance. What's the guarantee he won't chicken out the next day and say he wants to leave her? I'm just praying his communication is good with the girl and he won't make more blunders. Yeah, because it's like other cultures, like you don't get divorced if there's a
No. Yeah,
divorce.
she's stuck in that, man.
If
He sucks.
yeah, if there's a divorce, then it's a problem for the guy, but it's more a problem on the woman.
Yeah.
Like, she's looked as damaged goods at that point, and it's how a lot of
Yeah.
time, how is she going to pick up her life now?
No, because
Like that stigma follows.
Yeah.
We're sticking to our words and not getting involved in his matters at all. Even for the wedding, we're only following what mother-in-law and father-in-law ask per customs, nothing more. Is there any solution to this? Because I'm not sure anymore. If he's truly a self-absorbed person, there's no solution except keeping distance, right?
That's the end.
And we'll never know.
Well, as long as you stay away from this guy and don't have to interact with him, that's, all you can do. But we got another story coming right up.
My in-laws refuse to be financially responsible, and I'm losing all my patience.
I cannot sit here silently anymore.
I will be loud. My wife is from South America, and I'm European. We met when I spent 10 months in her hometown during a cultural exchange. We were 18 at the time and would both go to uni afterwards. After my cultural exchange, my then-girlfriend followed me to my home country where she obtained her degree. By the way, this comes from user Aimbox2, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. And OP says, we are now a happily married couple who have been living independently for about 5 years. My wife is 30, she has one brother, 28, and one sister, 16. Her whole family still lives in her home country. To add some financial context, the median income in my home country is around 1,800 euros after taxes. In hers, it's around $350 after taxes. Cost of living obviously differs a lot as well. On to the main problem. My sister-in-law, Anna, graduates in June and is supposed to start uni in September. We were worried, however, that there would be problems in organizing and paying for these studies, which is why we planned our holiday accordingly to see if we could be of any assistance. We're on holiday staying at her aunt's house right now. We arrived 2 weeks ago with one goal in mind: to make sure everything was in motion for Anna to start studying in September. After the first couple of days of usual greetings and storytelling of how our lives have been since the last time we came, about 2.5 years ago, my wife and I sat down with Anna to see what she would like to study. It turns out my parents-in-law hadn't really done anything yet to start preparing.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not doing it.
Rookie mistake.
They phoned it in. They had to say, you're the third kid. You figure it out, man.
You figured out.
The last time they had touched the subject in December of 2017, it ended with my mother-in-law telling Anna, okay, just let me know when you have any idea on what you want to become. There has been zero guidance on helping her choose what or where to study. To make things worse, a lot of deadlines concerning registration and scholarships were due in February. To be honest, we kind of saw this coming, which is why the last time we were here on holiday, 2.5 years ago, we had a conversation with my in-laws expressing our concerns, both financially as well as when it came to parental guidance. So last week, we took it upon ourselves to once again touch the subject and express our concerns. The result is they do not have the necessary money to even pay for the first semester. Oh, before my wife and I are branded as D-bags for pressuring my in-laws into arranging this for themselves instead of helping them financially, here's some context. My wife's grandfather held a very good position during his lifetime. The entire family belonged to the local high society for about 40 years. Grandfather gave my in-laws the house they currently live in for free. Grandpa basically paid 80% of all bills my in-laws ever had. Gas, water, electricity, school bills. Until my wife was 18, she went to the quote-unquote best and most expensive high school in the region. My parents basically paid for half of the cost of my wife's education and all roof and food in my home country. The rest was covered by Grandpa, plus her and I working in our spare time. We never asked my in-laws for help as we managed to get by. But it did seem strange to us that they never offered anything. My father confided in me that he doesn't need or ever expects any money from them, but that it does make it a strange relationship between him and my in-laws. My in-laws have had their own quote-unquote companies for about 15 years. Basically, it's a place they go to pass the time, to pretend to do something. My father-in-law's income barely covers the rent, and his assistant's pay. Yes, he has an assistant. My mother-in-law has a therapy office, so to speak. Think massages and prescribing weird teas to lose weight. On average, she has about 3 appointments per week, mainly her own family. Grandfather passed away about 7 years ago.
Oh.
He left the in-laws a substantial inheritance, $35,000 in cash, and a collection of terrains suitable for real estate, valued at about $500,000.
Wow.
For comparison, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house costs about $75,000 here. I personally apply a factor of 4 to translate local worth to our European standards. So basically a 2 million euro plus inheritance in European standards.
Wow.
In-laws have been slowly chipping away at this fortune and, in my opinion, wasting it, maintaining a lifestyle that was once possible with the huge income grandfather had, but is now simply unpayable with their nearly non-existent income. A couple of examples: wasting 1,600 euros, 5 times the local median monthly income, on an airline ticket so my brother-in-law could come visit us, when he clearly told his parents it was impossible for him to go as it fell in the middle of his uni exams.
Oh my gosh.
Celebrating their wedding anniversary in hotels that cost more than $300 per night, which is the median monthly income, buying all luxury brands for clothing, going to expensive supermarkets. They do this by selling off a certain asset below market value because they desperately need the money, and then spending it slowly but surely until they run out again.
Very sustainable.
Totally.
Every conversation we have had about this has been started by me in the following fashion. We are grateful for you allowing us to stay here with you during our holidays. I am, however, concerned about Anna's future, as I think her education will cost a lot of money, and I think it's best to start preparing so we don't end up in trouble. 2.5 years ago, they agreed that things weren't going as they should. There was a lot of crying involved, and we reached the conclusion that maybe they should start a project to elevate their income so it at least covers their daily expenses. The result was we spent weeks looking up info, creating a business model, and reuniting the family through Skype to do follow-ups, only to often get the answer of, "I haven't had the time," when asking my in-laws for an update. The project ended when I realized I forgot one of our Skype appointments, and instead of rushing home, I decided to test their motivation by seeing how long it would take for them to call me to check why I wasn't online yet. In-laws didn't call me that day, they didn't come online that day, and the entire project was never mentioned again.
They don't care. They're just doing this because you're upset about it. They're not upset.
They don't care. Fast forward to last week. I again touched the subject when alone with my in-laws. They tell me it's none of my business and that everything will be okay. I tell them that I don't need or want a single penny from them or their inheritance, and that I'm willing to put that in writing, but that I'm concerned about their ability to pay for Anna's education, which they then confirm they can't afford it for the time being. I tell them I only want to help in the form of guidance, call it the European view of things, or even offer a loan if they're tight right now. Terrible idea.
Yeah, to these people?
That's money you'll never get back. By now, they're on the defensive, and my wife and brother-in-law have joined the conversation. It was during breakfast. I literally tell them multiple times we are only having this conversation because I want them to lead a happy and stress-free life, but that with the way things have gone since our last conversation, it's unlikely to happen once all the inherited money is gone. The conclusion: my mother-in-law literally told my wife and her brother they were being materialistic, which is funny because my brother-in-law is a minimalist vegan who has his own small martial arts dojo, kickstarted by my wife and me, and who gives free lessons to people who can't afford it while barely scraping by himself. This guy's got a Mojo Dojo Casa House,
He sure does.
and he gives it to the people. She almost literally told them that kids cost too much money and that my brother and my wife had prevented her from leading the life she had wanted for herself. She's extremely religious and without children would have probably ended up in a convent. She also said that she loves her entire family and that she wants to get along with everyone, but that she can't accept the fact that we are such ungrateful children.
Oh my gosh.
FYI, she is currently on non-speaking terms with half of her siblings because of a discussion over money. If it wasn't for Anna, this would have probably been the point where I would have gotten up, smacked them both in the face, and told them to go F themselves and to never contact any of us again, as I want nothing to do with such close-minded and hurtful people. Mind you, if you ask anyone in my circle of friends, they'll tell you I am one of the least impulsive and least emotional people they know. Of course we didn't do this, and we tried to keep our calm. Alas, my wife is very emotional and could no longer support the completely off-topic insults my in-laws kept throwing in our direction. My wife and brother-in-law abandoned the table and went to their aunt's house while I tried to reinforce our message. We are grateful, but very concerned and only want to help. The problem is Anna does still need a degree, and my wife and I cannot afford it, as the university that offers it is a private one and is way beyond what our jobs pay. Our in-laws keep telling us that it will be taken care of, but I have zero confidence in their financial insights. My wife and I would also like to start a family of our own, but we love her sister so much and want to help her in every way possible. We do not feel comfortable having children and not being able to provide them with the best because of this other burden that we will likely have to carry. Reason why I have zero confidence is I later found out that if my wife hadn't come to Europe with me, my in-laws would have sent her to one of the worst universities in the country because it was all they could afford. My brother-in-law had to change universities after 3 months to a relatively bad but free one because, again, it was all they could afford. It is not entirely impossible that they gather the necessary funds to pay for Anna's education, yet again selling something, but it is a 99% certainty that without accepting guidance, they will be without a penny once the medical bills start pouring in when they get older. They are barely 50 now and already using physical ailments as an excuse for many things that go wrong. It may seem selfish, but I'm not willing to lessen my own family's opportunities once we start one because of my in-laws' mismanagement, general laziness, and stubbornness. Had they been part of a poor community, I would give them everything I could spare so they could better themselves. But given the context, the current situation just seems absurd to me. And by the way, we have an absurd amount of full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it is. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Just search OK Storytime.
Just do
And
it.
you can listen to over probably 1,700 hours worth of stories.
Yeah, probably so many. It'll get you through the end of the year at least.
Yep.
And then some.
At the very least.
Very least.
We have a little bit more story, but what are our thoughts, people? Do we have thoughts?
Dude, these parents are giving up. They're like, ah, shoot, we had kids, and I think we have to parent now.
Yeah, it's just I think you guys are so right in, like, you know, they're gonna get older. And when you get older, you start breaking down. Your body starts breaking down. You start going to the hospital, and that's expensive. You got to plan for the future, and they're not planning for the future at all. They're only thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
And are probably, you know, convincing themselves that this kid should, like, pay for her own college. When it's like, well, I mean, do what you got to do, but it seems like you can pay for this, but you're choosing not to. That's not fair.
Now, a couple of days after this conversation, my in-laws act as if nothing has happened. My wife and brother-in-law feel extremely disappointed, not only because our worry hasn't disappeared, but more so because of the extra things that were said. I've come to you for advice, as I haven't a clue on how to deal with our current family situation. The main problem is that my wife and I are worried about her sister's possibilities to obtain a higher education degree. Question, what can or should we do? And that's the end of that. On a real note, you know, there's plenty of ways to have a solid career without having to go to university, namely the trades. Learn how to speak real good and get yourself a little sales position somewhere. I don't know, but most of all, I think beyond going to school, whatever it is, Anna needs to have an idea of what she wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, it's community college because they're in Europe, right?
I have no idea how higher education works in Europe. I do know it's a lot
Yeah.
harder to get into, from what I understand.
My mother-in-law made my pregnancy all about her. I'm sick of it.
He's not the one having the baby.
In February, my husband, 22, and I, 21, welcomed our first child, a baby girl. For context, we lived with my in-laws for a bit during my pregnancy to save money, but the entire time my husband was redoing our place. My mother-in-law lost her parents within the past 3 to 4 years, so I held my tongue and tried to give her the benefit of the doubt regarding her constant overbearing behavior and boundary stomping. She has 3 sons, all kind of enmeshed, and not the best relationship with my father-in-law. By the way, this comes from Curly-Headed Falk. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in the situation, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, while I was pregnant, she was overbearing and constantly made everything about her experience. She literally made me feel like an incubator at times.
Ew.
When I was about 34 or 35 weeks, everything became too much due to her behavior and other circumstances, so I moved back in with my family for the remainder of my pregnancy to protect my mental health. We reached out to everyone beforehand and after to let them know that, per doctor's orders, we weren't doing visitations while I healed, and for the baby's immunity to build, 6 to 8 weeks. My husband talked to her about it, and I also told her that I didn't want her at the birth center since I only wanted my husband there. I am now 2 months postpartum, and while she hasn't come over unannounced, she's been warned, she has thrown multiple tantrums and caused incredible drama during this period. I also want to add that she has still not checked in on me even once. This post will be about some of the things that occurred during the pregnancy, and then the next will be about what's going on now. Thankfully, my marriage isn't suffering. It's honestly made us stronger rather than pulling us apart. Regardless of how he feels about it, my husband still has a shiny spine and protects our immediate family and peace. I don't think he fully understands why I don't want to be around her, though he supports me and never forces me to. It got so bad that I was gaslighting myself, asking if I was crazy or overreacting, and looking things up to make sure my feelings were valid. That's how I found this lovely subreddit. She built herself a nursery against my husband's advice, complete with a crib, car seat, and stroller. It was fully decorated and furnished, and she was being obnoxious about it. This happened during my last trimester, the stage I was supposed to be nesting, while my husband was still redoing our place. I nested by organizing everything we had. We were saving up and were low on play funds, so I hadn't even had a chance to put together my baby's actual nursery yet. His mom knew we had always planned on moving out because we wanted privacy as a family and a married couple. When she bought the crib, my husband advised her not to and told her she might want to adjust her expectations. She threw a tantrum and said it was because her parents were no longer Earthside, claiming she was just helping and that our niece could use it too. Then she bought even more things, more baby gear, high chair, clothes, everything, and bragged to me about all the items she was ordering for her baby room. Her baby room.
Oh. Okay.
Not your baby, girl. She showed me how the crib worked, called it my daughter's bed, called the nursery my daughter's room, and even brought people over to see it. She went full on nesting mode. She even touched my stomach without asking, which I absolutely hate, especially when pregnant. When I told my husband I could feel the baby, she said it was because she could sense that her bed was here. What? Even though our real crib was already assembled in our space. She put the room together right next to her bedroom, not in the separated part where we stayed, and tried to convince me to stay longer as I got closer to giving birth, even though she knew our plans. Conveniently, she never did this in front of her son. As I continued to turn her down, she started ignoring me more and more. Then apparently, she asked my husband why we didn't talk much. That's when I realized just how big her expectations were when it came to my baby. She started discarding me once she realized her access to my child wouldn't be unlimited. She acted like I was her favorite daughter-in-law and that she wanted to be best friends until she realized the truth. Then she just stopped talking to me. She even gave me the silent treatment multiple times during my pregnancy, ignored me mid-conversation, or went on her phone instead. She would look at me, not respond, and then pretend that I wasn't there. She ignored me in person, too, not even offering a glance or smile. Around 8 months pregnant, she was in full-blown silent treatment mode. She excessively shopped for baby clothes, but withheld many of them. She even had me pick out items from websites and only gave me some of them. I had to ask for the rest while doing baby laundry, and she acted like she didn't know where they were. My husband asked for them and still didn't get all of them, even though I knew exactly what I was missing because I had taken inventory. There was also a friend of hers selling a few trash bags of baby clothes for $100, and she asked if I wanted them. I said yes and appreciated it, thinking it was a gift. When she got home, she asked if I wanted to go through them, and I said yes, but that I was tired and would do it later. She sat on the ground and started sorting everything by herself, even though I told her not to. A few days later, I sorted everything myself. When I moved out shortly after, I took all the clothes to my parents' house to wash them. After that, she gave me the silent treatment again. According to my husband, she was mad and throwing a tantrum because she didn't realize we'd be taking space for that long, 6 to 8 weeks, and thought that we would be sharing clothes. That's when I realized it wasn't innocent. She expected unlimited access and overnights with my newborn. Why else would she need clothes for a newborn? And weren't they a gift? Once she realized our boundaries were firm, she started dressing my niece in those clothes. She even had me pick out toys and then kept them for her house. She wanted to know my personal health information, demanded to see ultrasounds, and wanted details about every appointment. But when she was giving me the silent treatment, she wouldn't ask me anything, only my husband, always referring to my daughter as her baby. When she did ask how I was doing, it was only to ask about the baby, and she made sure to do it in front of my husband. Never when we were alone. After she went silent over the clothing situation and I moved out, there was complete radio silence until a few days before my due date. Then she pretended to make nice just to get updates, but she didn't get them. She later admitted that she didn't reach out because she was upset about our boundaries. My husband didn't even tell her I had given birth until after we were home and had slept. She constantly said my baby or our baby, even at the worst times. One time I was almost throwing up from heartburn and she said, our baby is going to have a lot of hair. When I moved back in with my parents during the last month of pregnancy, she never reached out. I was constantly on the phone with my husband and she would hear me, but ignore me completely. Only once did she say, hey, OP, how's our baby? My husband immediately said, I wouldn't say it's our baby.
Go husband.
Go husband. And she threw a tantrum. Okay, well, I'm glad that we have confirmation that the husband is here and doing things.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. Father-in-law got upset with him for hurting her feelings, but I was so proud of him that day. And to top it all off, she wore white to our wedding.
What?
Of course.
Of
She did.
course.
It's always
It's
that.
our wedding.
It's always these mother-in-laws wearing white to the wedding and talking about our baby, her baby. What is that?
It was her wedding too.
Is this some sort of like generational thing? I don't understand why so many mother-in-laws in these stories do these exact things.
right?
I don't like, what is it? We had an intimate garden ceremony since we wanted to save for a reception and a honeymoon our baby could be a part of. Still white? Thankfully, her sweater ended up matching my dress and she had to wear my off-white one instead. And we do have an update. So that was all the stuff that was,
Wow.
complaints. And now this is like the to this day problem.
Okay.
The modern problem. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this
I
whole
mean,
mess?
A+ husband
Yeah.
for doing the bare minimum of telling his mom off.
Right.
That's crazy. I hope that she holds up to your boundaries no matter how mad she is about them.
Totally.
And that father-in-law comes around and is like, okay, cool it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Like we can calm down.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. But we do have an update. She's been silenced since the birth of our daughter, but now started causing more drama. There have been a few tantrums over these 2 months, some behind closed doors with just her husband and sometimes my husband. Some were over my boundary of 6 to 8 weeks for no visitation. She came over for a visit and started up the my baby thing again while holding little one. My dear husband said, not your baby, our baby. She told him it's her baby too and that she wasn't going to stop calling her that. My husband said she's my baby and OP's baby. She ignored him, kissed the little one, and said, isn't that right, my baby? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No.
My husband firmly said, stop calling her that. She's not your baby. Mother-in-law got mad, said I was turning her son against her,
Oh my God.
handed him the little one, and left the room. She then sent him a long text saying he was being mean to her. My father-in-law came in and said, "You're hurting your mother's feelings. You need to apologize." My husband just got up and left, and we went home. Recently, my brother-in-law and his wife had their baby. Since then, mother-in-law suddenly changed how she's acting around us. She's being sweet and nice, and all of a sudden wants to arrange more family gatherings. She posted on Facebook a comment a cousin of theirs made on her granddaughter's picture that says, "You do bust your butt because that's what a good mama does, but she is also smart enough to use the help that she knows that she is blessed with. We are all here for you for anything. Love you more than you know and super proud of you." Mother-in-law didn't like this cousin until she started having regular unlimited access to her baby. I regularly comment on her posts and sort of in support of this cousin. It seemed pointed and was put in a place that I was sure to see it, even though I have unfollowed her. Mother-in-law has also been coming up with more and more reasons to get together. Even though we just saw them on Friday, she tries to arrange something for Wednesday night, us all going to a loud hour-round trip hibachi restaurant for her sister-in-law's birthday. She texts asking in the group chat with everyone on her side and in the chat with just husband and me. He texts just her and says, "We can't make it, but thanks for the invite," and leaves it at that. She also sends a screenshot of niece's first birthday party information that she has been buying a ton of stuff for and says, "Don't forget. It's this Sunday. I already responded, going to the Facebook event that the cousin sent me." The brother-in-law and dear husband see her every day as they all work together. We're not even really going, just dropping off a gift and then doing something for ourselves. There are tons of older, small-town people invited that neither of us know, and she has talked poorly about us to all these people for the past 2 entire months. Little one is not even 3 months yet, has only gotten literally 1 round of shots, and we're expected to go to a large gathering? Husband and cousin aren't even close, and we're not close with them either. I just can't help but feel like she's trying to place some weird claim on our free time, especially with the way she's been using the group chat. Also, Mother's Day is coming up, and while she doesn't know husband planned a trip, she may still try and pull something early. She hasn't tried to claim the holiday yet, but I'm so sure that I bet on it with my sister-in-law. We're definitely expecting something. Husband booked a vacation to a mystery location for the weekend. We're planning on turning our phones off for the entire weekend, hanging out with just nuclear family, and spending some time with nature. I don't want her drama anywhere near my weekend. She's not my mother, and she's certainly not a good mother-in-law. So she doesn't need something from me on that day, especially my first one. They didn't do anything for her last year, and she's had 28 or 29. This day, I genuinely feel should be for me. My husband can visit over there, reasonably, and on an info diet, but very low contact for me and little ones sounds better each day. With how she's behaved, I'm fully okay with only seeing them like 3 or more times for the rest of the year. We'll be out of town for Father's Day and for the beginning of July for my birthday. Her birthday is a few days before Grandparents' Day in September. 2 birds, 1 brief visit. October is my literal favorite time of the year, so obviously we're doing something adorable for Halloween and lots of fall activities.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely not budging on that. My parents do a Gratitude Day in November, and the in-laws don't do Thanksgiving. So a visit around Christmas, but not on the day because husband and I have always said the holiday is ours. By the way, I have always said that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And yeah, it's all there for ya.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit more to the story, but what do we think about all this so far?
I feel like they all have, I mean, besides mother-in-law, like
Yeah.
OP and husband have a very good plan set of like
Mhm.
making sure they still get their own time and like celebrating in ways that are good for them and still including OP's family.
Yeah.
So I think they've figured out what they need to do.
Yeah. I think that's all that you really can do, honestly.
Yeah.
So good job, guys.
Nice.
But there's a little bit more to the story. I literally feel like preemptively making an event calendar for the rest of the year, so she really can't try to guilt my husband. I don't feel any obligation to spend a special day with someone who doesn't even see me as a member of her family, but my family. We're obviously going to be prioritizing doing things as a unit, and these are our first ones together. Any advice? Am I overreacting? There really hasn't been any change in her passive-aggressive behavior, and she's only been not flipping out because she thinks that we're all about to hang out on Sunday. I'm sure there will be some sort of blow up after the birthday party. I feel dropping the rope is the best thing to do. I really hope I'm not being unreasonable, but at this point, she's shown who she is, and I'm not interested in trying to change that. And that is the end of that story.
Yeah. I think low or no contact is the way to go until she can figure this out.
Right? Because you can't change that.
Yeah.
She's just always gonna act that way, and you can only you can only control your amount of contact with her. So
Exactly.
yeah. But good job. I think you guys are handling it well overall. Good luck to all of you and your new baby.
My mother-in-law is being insensitive about my late parents, so I blew up at her.
As you should.
I, 23 female, have been married to my husband, 24 male, for 3 years. We were high school sweethearts and have been best friends since elementary school.
Nice.
He's still my best friend to this day.
Aw.
I've never had a great relationship with his mom. She's difficult to talk to, and our conversations are usually very shallow, gossiping about neighbors, complaining about the landscapers, etc. By the way, this comes from throwaway 97252801. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, almost a year ago, my mom passed away, which still feels surreal to write. She truly was my soulmate, and I'm incredibly grateful to have had her in my life for 23 years. I miss her more than words can describe. My husband's family really stepped up during that time, supporting us financially with funeral costs and managing affairs when I was in deep grief. I'm genuinely grateful for their help. Fast forward to now, we're expecting our first baby.
Wow.
Congrats. As excited as I am, I'm also deeply saddened that my mom won't be here to guide me through this. We always talked about what my kids would call her. We had settled on Grams. Cry.
That's cute.
Now to the incident. We're celebrating our pregnancy at dinner with my in-laws, and my mother-in-law asked to make a toast. She laughed and said, "I'm so grateful to celebrate a new addition to our family. We can't wait to meet little Veronica," which is her name. She went on to talk about her own pregnancy and what I should expect, mentioning that my husband had an abnormally big head when he was born.
Okay.
Then she said, "I look forward to being the favorite grandma to Veronica, since, of course, I'll be the only grandma."
Oh
my God.
Oh my God. What? That is so unnecessary.
That was like... Why couldn't you have just been like, "I look forward to being a wonderful grandma to little Veronica"?
Yeah. That is so insane.
Oh my God. The room went silent and I started to cry. I stood up and told her how incredibly insensitive it was to say that, and that my mom would always be a grandmother, whether she's here or not. She responded by saying I was overreacting and that it was just a joke.
A joke?
I told her to go to heck and left immediately. My husband later called me, saying he spoke to his mom, who was in tears because she was embarrassed.
I mean...
Maybe you shouldn't have said it then, jeez.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking embarrassing.
Right,
to
embarrassing
do.
that you would say it.
Yeah.
She asked him to apologize on her behalf, and he told me I should have come back instead of telling her to go to heck and storming off. I'm currently staying with my sister and haven't stopped crying since. She supports me 100%, but I really want to know, am I the a-hole? Obviously, our verdict is not the a-hole.
Yeah, definitely not.
We've got some comments, but
Oh my God.
that's crazy. Her mom passed a year ago.
A year ago.
Even if it was forever ago, that's still not something you say, but a year ago to still be in that grief?
Yeah.
Like,
And then also, like, getting pregnant too. Like, I'm sure she's been thinking about the fact that, like, her mom can't meet her child, like
Yeah.
on top of all the regular grief. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh,
Jeez.
that's so awful.
No, that's the worst. Some relevant comments. Sir Ren, your mother-in-law said something severely inappropriate and insensitive. No person in their right mind would think what she said was okay, no matter how many years have passed since your mother's passing. Heck, my grandmother passed away almost 10 years ago, and when my son was born 2 years ago, my mom and I talked a lot about how much we missed her and how we wished she was still here to see him. We still say this often, when he's reached a milestone or we're just doing something we know she would have enjoyed. It's natural to think about deceased relatives more at a time like this. And she says something as callous as that, not the a-hole. Disastrous Duty 7346 says, not the a-hole. Speaking as a husband who has a mom like this, you need to seriously have a discussion with him about his mom's behavior. He has the power to change how his mother treats you, and it seems like he's okay with what she did and expects you to apologize. I understand it's his mom, but he chose to live a life with you and start a family. That needs to be his priority, not mommy's feelings. Candyland Canada says, not the a-hole, please allow me to recap. Mother-in-law desecrated the memory of your mother while simultaneously attempting to elevate her place in the family. Husband is put out that you left the scene before giving mother-in-law a chance to weasel her way out via a vicarious apology. Have I got that right? You have a husband problem and a mother-in-law problem. Let's hope that the former corrects itself before the birth. If husband even whispers that Veronica should be included as any part of the name, then take it for the giant flashing red light that it is. And we have an update.
Yep.
Any other thoughts, or should we just...
Let's just get right into it.
3 days later.
Woo!
Just want to take a moment to thank you all for your support. Your comments and messages have been incredibly eye-opening. After staying with my sister for a few days, my husband came over. He said he understood why I was hurt, but felt I overreacted.
Ooh.
He asked me to apologize to my mother-in-law to keep the peace, which felt like a betrayal. I had hoped he would stand up for me. That night, my mother-in-law sent a long text doubling down on her joke and saying my grief is becoming a burden on everyone. She told me I need to seek professional help and move on since it's been almost a year.
The way I am stomping over to her front door.
Yeah.
I am not talking online about this. I am like, I want to yell in her face.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Oh my God. I was devastated. I showed my husband, but he got angry at me for escalating things.
What?
He said I should make peace with her for our child's sake and that he didn't want to be caught in the middle.
What does the child have to do with it? What?
Husband, get your crap together,
Literally,
man.
Because you know that when this mom passes away, he's not going to have that same idea towards
Right.
it. But we
Oh
can't
my
say that now.
God.
Oh my God.
I've decided to take some space and stay with my sister. I'm really struggling to come to terms with this. This whole situation has made me question if my marriage is right for me and my baby. I need an environment where I feel respected and supportive, and I don't feel that way right now. By the way, we have an environment where you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. We've got a little bit more.
Oh my gosh.
But wow.
Wow, dude. Wow.
That got so much worse than I thought it was gonna
so
get.
much worse. Oh my God. Like, if he can't understand that that's a terrible thing to say
Yeah.
and that you're grieving, like he's not being
Yeah.
sensitive to your grief at all. When you just lost your mother. I mean, that's a huge, huge loss.
And
like-
he helped you through that, and then to like
Yeah.
turn that quickly.
Yeah.
I thought for sure that update was gonna be like, and then I talked to my husband and he came around and
Right.
he's helping me against mother-in-law.
You would hope.
Not that.
Made it so much worse. Yeah, I would definitely seriously reflect on that relationship too. For sure.
Got a little bit left. I told my husband that if he wants me back, he needs to show me he can stand up for me. I'm putting myself and my baby first. I don't know what will happen next, but I know I deserve better than this. My sister and I are currently turning her old office into a room, prepping for Rosie's after my mom Rosa
Aw.
arrival. Okay, so I think you were right with
Yeah,
the baby name.
maybe it was like that then. Yeah.
I think you were right.
Dang.
I feel truly blessed to have her support. Thank you again for all your support. It has meant more than you know. We have some comments. Commenter 1, a year is nothing for someone grieving, especially if it's their parents. I hope OP and her sister can support each other and that the husband steps up and not excuses mother-in-law's actions any longer. Someone replied, I luckily have my parents still, but I lost my best friend 3 years ago, and there are days the grief is unbearable. I still talk about her all of the time. If my partner's family told me to get over it, it was 3 years ago, my partner would lay the F into them. Someone else replies, grief is love in a heavy coat. Oh. Commenter 2, I hope mother-in-law will be okay with her son forgetting her and replacing her within a year of her passing. Or is that treatment only reserved for everyone else? Commenter 3, this marriage is ending soon, right? Someone replies, I hope it already did. It was dated 2024.
Wow.
My parents have been gone for a long time. Long enough for me to hear a lot of stupid crap from stupid people. Long enough to think of what I should have said, but was too stunned in the moment. If I encountered someone like the mother-in-law now, I would likely say, in my nastiest voice, that when she passes away, I hope everyone moves on and forgets her by the 1-year anniversary. Hopefully, I'd also have the wherewithal to say that after that year, Opie's daughter wouldn't have any grandmothers because passed away is passed away. Commenter 4, why do so many guys have such a hard time standing up to their mother? I would have never spoken to her again. Someone replies, I've commented this a couple times before, but my mom always said to me, if your wife and I ever fight and you don't take her side, I'll scold you myself. To be frank, she also had to live with an incredibly toxic mother-in-law during her marriage. As a man who witnessed his father dropping the ball firsthand, keeping the peace only enables them. It'll escalate. Another thing my mom taught me was that the most important person in your life should be your spouse. As she would put it, you'll outlive your parents, and your children will grow up to leave their own lives and start their own families. The only person who stays with you till the end is your spouse and siblings, so they should be the most important people in your life always. Edit, please remember to be reasonable and still love your parents and kids like any respectable person should. This should be a guideline on overarching life decisions for yourself in private. It does not mean telling your kids that you love their mom more or something like that, LMAO. And that's the end of that story.
Wow.
Great commenters, though.
Yeah, it's just like crazy that she was about to apologize. Like she knew that it was wrong at first and was like, "Hey son, can you apologize for me?"
Right.
Just like
Means
total
nothing,
coward
though.
move.
Yeah.
But then it was like, "No, actually,
You embarrassed me.
yeah." It's like, huh? No.
How
But
that works.
yeah, I think you're making the right decision by being with your sister. I'm glad that she's there to support you.
Yeah.
Glad that you're naming your kid after your mom.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful name too.
Yeah.
So good job, OP. I'm so sorry you had to go through all that. That's terrible.
Yeah. Good job.
My mother-in-law wanted to control my baby shower, but I won't let her.
Get out of here.
I, 30 female, am currently 28 weeks pregnant with a baby girl due at the end of January. My husband, 37 male, and I have been married for 2 years now, but we've been together for 8 years, and this will be our first child. And by the way, this comes from Princess Poco, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I'm Sophia.
And we are here to give some good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We would only tell you what we would do in this situation, but we would love to know what you would do down below in the comments. I've always had a very relaxed relationship with my in-laws until recently when we told them I was pregnant. They were excited as expected, but have been getting increasingly pushy regarding planning the baby shower and asking personal questions that I am not comfortable discussing with them. For context, my in-laws live about 10 minutes from my husband and me. They have been charged with the care of our 18-year-old nephew for the last 9 months or so. My husband's older sister is a bit of a mess. She has joint custody of 3 boys, all with the same father. Since the oldest turned 18, she moved in with her new boyfriend, so there was no room for him at their house. His father is very much a "you're 18 now, son, you're on your own" type, so he was not welcome at his father's house either. Both of his other brothers live with their father full time. My pregnancy has been challenging. I was diagnosed with HG early in my pregnancy. I'm working full-time on several medications daily to prevent nausea and vomiting, and sometimes vomit up to 12 times a day. I've needed multiple trips to urgent care for IVs due to recurrent dehydration. I'm also anemic and tire
Ooh.
easily just by doing daily tasks.
That is such a terrible mix.
I nearly faint at least a few times a week, experiencing blacked out vision, lightheadedness, and nausea. But if I lay down fast enough, I'm able to come to without totally losing consciousness. My husband works long hours, so though still working full time and being exhausted following each workday, I still do a majority of the housework. I don't fault my husband for this at all because this has been his schedule our whole relationship, and he is doing his best to financially support our family. I'm a therapist, so though my job isn't physically taxing, it is definitely emotionally taxing day to day outside of the HG. There are days my boss sends me home early because she sees me struggling, and that's when I usually end up going to urgent care for an IV. I'm also followed by MFM for some issues with her placenta that may cause growth restrictions with the baby, so I have more prenatal appointments that are also longer in duration than the average first-time mom. My in-laws are complaining about how we aren't visiting with them enough or helping with our nephew when I barely have the strength to get through my workday and manage the household. I tell my husband I have no problem with him visiting with his nephew, but I don't feel well enough to accompany them. I don't enjoy meeting them out for dinner because running to the restroom or vomiting into an emesis bag isn't exactly fun for me. I keep emesis bags on my person in every purse and both mine and my husband's car because of the frequency of my vomiting. I'm being told I'm exiling my family by not seeing them weekly. I'm not exactly sure why they're so keen on having me sit in their living room so they can watch me fall asleep on the couch from exhaustion after work or vomit after dinner. Some days certainly are better than others, but I can't control it. My mother-in-law has a habit of being attention-seeking. She somehow makes every event about her. She tried to wear the exact same dress as my mother to our wedding and then cried for weeks when my husband told her that wasn't appropriate and to pick a different dress. She somehow made her mother-in-law's 95th birthday about her. Now she's doing what she can to take over my baby shower. I'm very particular and organized. I picked a venue, put down a deposit, selected a plated menu for the event with a starter and dessert, hired a company for the photo backdrop and centerpieces, and ordered signs and invites and thank you cards, all by the time I was 20 weeks pregnant, before my in-laws even thought about starting to plan a shower. When my mother-in-law starts asking about how she can help, I tell her everything has already been booked. There's nothing left to help with but the guest list. I get guilt-tripped by my father-in-law for not letting my mother-in-law plan the event. I didn't realize that was even something people do. I'm having a party to celebrate the birth of my child. Why would it be anyone's responsibility but my own to plan a party? I asked my mother-in-law for a list of people to invite to the shower, and the list just kept growing. She sent me several texts of people to invite. Most I have never met in the 9 years I've known my husband, nor did they even attend our wedding. I invited them to make her happy. I frequently get panic texts from her to know who has RSVP'd and who hasn't answered. I have to update her every time someone says no, even if they are my friend from childhood that she has never met. I'm not sure why anything that has to do with the shower concerns her at all. She just needs to put on a dress, show up, and enjoy the party. Why is that so hard?
I will say it is fairly common for other people to
Yes.
plan your baby shower.
Yeah,
That's not like out of the norm, but it is pretty rude that, you've been very clear that you want to plan it,
Yeah.
and then she still wants to involve herself.
My in-laws are now insisting on paying for half of it, which I expect given the volume of people they asked me to invite that I do not know nor care if they come. But now it seems like they are using the financial contribution to be more controlling and make changes to things I had decided weeks before. My in-laws did not contribute any money to our wedding. My parents wrote us a check for $10K. And said, do with it as you please with no strings attached. They didn't insist on having any hand in the wedding planning. This is why I'm now confused why my in-laws are only giving us money now to usurp control. It's making me uncomfortable that my mother-in-law is using me and my unborn child to carry favor with her circle of friends like, oh, look at me, I'm having a grandchild. Situation gets more complicated because I confided in one of my friends who had just had a baby a few weeks ago. Her mother-in-law sleeps over and tends to the baby at night while she and her husband sleep. Her mother-in-law arrived at the hospital minutes after she gave birth, and there were several visitors before they left the hospital, which I find quite odd. I might need a C-section depending on the extent of fetal growth restriction heading towards the end of the pregnancy. She invalidates all my concerns and tells me that I'm keeping her baby from my mother-in-law. This makes me extremely uncomfortable. By the way, we'll never make you extremely uncomfortable because you can listen to stories just like this one, full episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app. Just type in OK Story Time and you will see all of it. Months worth you'll get. How fun for you. This is my child first before she is my mother-in-law's grandchild. Titles don't entitle you to be a part of a child's life. They have to be invited in and included by the parents. I don't want my in-laws visiting at the hospital. They might not meet our daughter for weeks after birth because I can't predict how my recovery will go after a C-section. I don't want to be bleeding and leaking in front of my in-laws. I'd like to enjoy some sense of dignity postpartum. Visitors will be allowed in when I feel comfortable. Then I get called selfish by friends and in-laws. Thankfully, my mom agrees. My mother-in-law is being overbearing. My parents live across the country, so they might not meet my daughter until her baptism, and they're okay with that. Yeah, that's how my sister-in-law, when she had her baby,
Yeah.
my parents were there because obviously they were in Ohio, but her family's from Florida. So
Mhm.
like they didn't meet for a while.
Wow.
I'm worried if we don't set boundaries now with my in-laws, their entitlement will just get worse. Am I the a-hole for how I feel in this situation?
No, it's at the end of the day, it's your birth and you get to make the rules, and whoever has to say about that, whoever has anything to say about that, doesn't really matter.
We do have some comments. Comment 1, not the a-hole for most of it. I will say that etiquette-wise, you don't throw yourself your own baby or wedding shower. Usually a family member or friend does that. At least that's the way it's been for a long time in the US. OP says, that's funny since I also threw my own wedding shower. Oops. I feel like it doesn't matter. If you
Doesn't
want to, if
matter.
you have like a
Yeah.
vision in mind, then do it. Yeah. But like, who cares? I don't think it's a big deal. If you want to
No.
plan it, plan it. If you want someone else to plan it, ask them.
Yeah.
You know?
Easy.
Comment 2, not the a-hole. You have a huge husband problem. It is his mother and his job to handle. He is an a-hole for not shutting this down and setting boundaries. Get in marriage counseling now so he can learn how to set boundaries and enforce them. If he won't do this now, you will be miserable for the rest of your life if you stay with him. Stop entertaining mother-in-law's games about changing the shower plans and updating on RSVP unless it is her guest. Set the boundaries you want surrounding birth of the baby now. Make sure you tell everyone at the hospital you don't want visitors. Guaranteed mother-in-law will show up and husband would let her in. Same with her showing up at your house after the birth.
I think that is a little presumptuous. Well, I don't think we've seen anything that says the husband is letting all of this slide. I think, if anything, you could just have a conversation with your husband. Say, hey, I don't really want to handle your mother-in-law anymore or your mother anymore. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like a huge husband problem as of yet.
Yeah, and I mean, he also has his own stuff going on, you know? So it's like you want to make sure, like, I understandably, you're going through all of this. You have a job and, you know, you're pregnant and have, you know, then you're also planning everything. Like, you know, you've got a lot on your plate. So I feel like if you just ask, you know, hubby, be like, listen, your mother-in-law is really driving me crazy. Can you just tell her to, like, chill, you know, or something? Yeah. I don't think that it's his fault per se. I think that that's just how the mother-in-law is. And, like, you've tried to set boundaries and you've tried to, you know, like be like, okay, no, I want to do it, this is what I want, you know, and she obviously doesn't listen. So, you know, if you feel the need to get your husband involved, then yeah, it is his mom. So I feel like, you know, as long as they have like a good relationship, I don't know, they should be able to like talk it out.
Yeah.
That is the end of this story. And we got another one coming right up.
My in-laws called me disrespectful for quitting the babysitting job for them.
I don't like your kids.
I, 24 female, babysat for my in-laws who gave me a 3-year-old daughter. I also have my own son who's under 2, so I need to bring him with me on most days that I'm sitting. By the way, this comes from Stick. If you want to see my own stories, you know where to go. I'm Riley.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
We're going to read this story funny. If you have any comments, put them down below. Opie says, I started working for them in September of last year, and it was going well when my son was small. He slept a lot, and I was able to manage both of them. My father-in-law is a firefighter, and my mother-in-law is a school teacher. That's like every couple in the South. I'm only needed on days my father-in-law works, but He's on a revolving schedule, so it changes week to week because he's busy saving lives.
He's fighting fires.
He's punching the fire out.
I don't know when I'll be there, but I'll be there.
He's tackling fires.
I babysit anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week from 7 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. My sister-in-law also started part-time preschool Monday through Wednesday from 8:45 a.m. to 11:25 a.m. If you're going to do this, give us a calendar too, all right?
Yeah, come on. Let us know it all.
I quickly realized this year that I'm not able to manage my sister-in-law's preschool schedule, my son's changing needs, and my own household responsibilities. Not only is the stress and time this job requires is taking away from my ability to keep up with my own house and family, but my son is having to mold his schedule to fit this one. I'm often shaking his leg in the car ride home from picking up my sister-in-law from school just to keep him awake because their naps have to line up or neither one of them get a nap. And that's awful for everyone involved.
Yeah, hey, Ming Ming asks what I'm asking. Are you being paid?
And my next question is, what?
Yeah, because if you're not getting paid, then this is very much not worth it. It's totally different if you're once in a while, helping out, or maybe you're even just picking up kid from school every day a week. That's different. But the hours that you're working is a full-time nanny, or not a full-time nanny, but like you're a babysitter, like that you're working a job.
Time is money.
Absolutely. My husband is an EMT who works 3 days a week from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. What is up with these husbands in these stories working ridiculous hours? We often have to leave before my son gets to see his dad in the morning, so they don't get to see each other for days at a time.
Dude, I'm sorry. If my husband wasn't seeing my child for days at a time, I'm immediately changing whatever's causing that.
Listen, he's saving lives.
No, like her schedule with the babysitting.
Oh.
Yeah, he's saving lives. I get it. We're not changing that.
My husband and I were discussing how difficult it's been for us and our son to manage babysitting my sister-in-law and how I don't think I can do it anymore. We realized it would take my husband picking up only 2 overtime shifts a month to make more money than I do working full-time per month for our in-laws. Oh, well, if he's down to do that,
I think we could change it up a little bit.
she wouldn't have to work anymore and he'd just have to work 2 longer days.
Yeah.
Also note about my in-laws, they are much more well off than we are. All 3 of their daughters are in private school. They go on multiple vacations a year. They have brand new cars, etc. I came to my mother-in-law on Monday and told her I needed to talk to her about quitting the babysitting gig. And we had a long conversation about why and different options. I told her it was greatly affecting my mental health, my marriage, and my family in general. She asked that I think about some more concerns, which included that what would we do if something big happened financially and we needed help, how I was going to get the mental help that I needed, anxiety, and how my husband picking up an overtime would affect our marriage. Seems like that's what they need to worry about.
It's not your baby.
I asked in return that she talk to my father-in-law about all their options. She agreed and said, let's get through this week and we'll talk about our findings. My father-in-law sent a text on Tuesday asking if we could come over that evening to discuss babysitting moving forward. I informed him that my husband was on shift, but we could meet Wednesday or Saturday. He said he would call out of work Wednesday so we could talk. I suggested Saturday again so he wouldn't need to miss work, but he insisted on Wednesday. Cut to Wednesday. We dropped my son off with my sister. We went to my in-laws' house and sat down. They asked me to recap my reasoning and asked what came from the concerns they had. I told them about my husband only needing 2 days of overtime and that I actually found a very affordable company to do counseling through. I did a lot of research in the few days I was given to find solutions and answer all of their concerns. Why do we need to give the, what? Why do we need to, talk to them about this?
Doctor Strange.
Very strange.
When I asked them what solutions they had that didn't involve me, they looked into one option but nothing else, and they were just hoping to compromise. The whole conversation dipped back and forth between being hurtful and being focused. They felt that we were leaving them out to dry. Despite me saying I wasn't leaving right away and that I'd stay until they find someone else, they said they were really relying on me and that I was being disrespectful by asking to leave.
You're being disrespectful because you won't do what we want anymore.
We're really relying on you for the rest of our lives for you to do this for the rest of your life for free. How dare you?
We were really relying on your free labor, and now that you're realizing that it's rude.
How dare you? How dare you figure this out?
They said I was putting their daughter's well-being on the back burner and not thinking about how this choice would affect them.
I gotta think about my kid. Sorry.
Oh my God, I had a full-on panic attack. I was sobbing on their couch, telling them I was so sorry and that I thought I could really do it. But I just felt like I was burying myself. I told them it felt like I wasn't even a person anymore, and I just wanted to be home with my family. I left feeling defeated and guilty, wondering if I made a bad choice. I'm sure this will change the dynamics in the house when we come over, but I really felt like this was the best choice for my family. OP, it is!
OP, it is the best choice.
Edit. A lot of people are asking where my husband is in all of this. I asked him prior to the conversation with my mother-in-law and father-in-law to let me do most of the talking. It's my job that we're talking about. He did shut down hurtful comments, correct incorrect information, and redirect unnecessary conversation. But after a very lengthy discussion, he agreed to let me talk because that would feel the best for me. Thank you to everyone who commented. I appreciate your support, and it just helps me feel better about this decision. I'm going to let you know you can feel better. Listen to more stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime. We have a little bit more. We got an update left. Do you think OP can pull through?
OP, you need to stop blaming yourself for their inability to plan.
Yeah, right?
And you know, take your time for your family.
Don't let them twist your mind. You had it right. You are tired. You need to get out of this. You got this. You're so close. You're so close.
Updates. My in-laws found someone to watch over my sister-in-law. It took them 3 days to find someone, which just makes a little bit more frustrating knowing it was so easy for them to find someone and we could have avoided one of the worst conversations I've ever been a part of. They just did this to hurt you.
Yeah, they're just petty. And also, so strange referring to a baby as your sister-in-law.
Because it is.
I know. It's just strange.
It is weird. Like, shouldn't you just be their aunt?
Your baby
is a year younger than your sister-in-law.
It's so strange.
They reminded us on Friday that we have family night on Sunday, tonight. But I politely declined, as everything is still pretty fresh and upsetting me. I'm hoping this won't affect my family's relationship with them too much in the future, but my husband and I have talked about taking a pretty big step back after this whole ordeal. I'm happy to be moving to the next chapter of my life. Yes, we did it. It was a little rocky, but
we
we're
got
here.
there. Go hang out with your kid and your husband.
I don't understand why people have to do this to people pleasers. You know it's already hard for them
They're like,
to make decisions for themselves.
Yeah. You go in on them. Come on.
Yikes.
My boyfriend's ex accused me of replacing her as a mom, and I lost it.
You're not my mom.
I, 29 female, have been dating this man, Joseph, 39 male, for 6 years. 4 of those years officially living together, and 2 were more like vetting and dating around on both sides. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the chat or the comments. And Opie says, in the years leading up to and during the first 4 months of us living together, his 3 daughters adored me and my daughter. The oldest 2 are his biologically, and the baby girl was a paternity question that turned out not to be his, but he still stepped up and loved her when we met. Now we both love her. They all have the same mom. We got along well with no issues or attitude, just the honeymoon phase. One of his daughters has behaviors consistent with ADD and ODD, and her mother refuses to get her the help she needs. In her view, people only use diagnoses as crutches. Which, fine, it's her prerogative, but the do-nothing route is not working for either household and only sets the child up for failure. I have a 9-year career in behavioral health, and I have advocated for therapy and classes for the child. I even made Joseph take parenting classes with me and attend state trainings relevant to his daughter's behaviors, things like personal harm, screaming, and violent outbursts. She is 11 now. A major behavior is the learned behavior of triangulation, and that is important for what comes next.
Okay.
Over the past 4 years, I have documented about 12 different instances where his children's mother has directed accusations or negative comments toward me by texts to him, allegedly expressed to her by the children, which I sincerely doubt the youngest and oldest are involved in. We have really great relationships. In my opinion, she uses them as cover. Also worth noting that I have never responded to her or addressed her directly. I always clarify with Joseph, and he responds how he sees fit. Usually he corrects her assumptions and then ignores the drama. But this most recent incident triggered me into oblivion. Joseph woke me up 5 months pregnant at 11:50 p.m. to show me a text message she sent him. It said that she was informed I had told her daughters to call me mom, and she wanted to make it clear that I am not their mother and she would not tolerate that. She wrote that she told the girls they have a mom and it is her, and no matter how much we act differently, it is what it is. She said it was weird that Joseph would allow that, comparing it to her letting her fiancé tell their daughters to call him dad. Joseph explained that he did not believe her and he knew she was making it up, but it was too late. I was immediately on guard. I was raised in a substance influence environment by my great aunt. She was barren and forced my sister and me to call her mom. She
Oh.
was cruel, and our biological mother was still present in our lives to a degree.
It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm your mother. And they're like, no, you're not.
You're not, though. We still see our mom.
My mom's over there.
It was conflicting and incredibly uncomfortable. When Joseph went to take a shower, I was left sitting alone with my emotions. I broke my silence and texted her directly for the first time ever. I told her that I had never told her children to address me as their mother, to call me as their mother, or to even see me as a maternal figure in their life. I explained that her child had explicitly expressed to me that she refers to me as her stepmother and wanted to be sure I was comfortable with that. I told her yes, because I see them as my stepchildren. I added that later in the day, I realized that I do not step-love them, and that message was only expressed to the oldest child, not all of
I
them.
don't step love you.
That's so weird.
I really love you.
I told her I was not sure where the miscommunication keeps happening, but that if she continued to respond to her children or her misinterpretations in a way that breeds hostility and resentment, we could never have effective communication. I also gave her my number and said that if she ever had a problem or a misunderstanding about something I had discussed with her children, she could reach out to me directly. I reminded her that Joseph cannot facilitate conversations he's not present for. I told her that if she had ever taken 10 minutes in the past 4 years to understand me, she would know that what I was being accused of was so far from my character that it was disturbing. I said that I hoped my message provided reassurance and that I had never and would never desire for her children to refer to me as their mother. I never even asked them to refer to me as their stepmother. That was something they decide for themselves. If they stopped doing so tomorrow, I would not be offended. I assumed she was referring to a text I had sent her daughter a few days earlier. She was not, but for context, that message said that I was wrong earlier, that she was not my stepdaughter, she was just my daughter, and that I loved her the same way I loved Jackie. I told her there was no step to it, that I was sorry the night was rough, and that I hoped she learned that help and support were always here. I told her she deserved greatness, great days, and great nights, and that I loved her very much.
Aww.
Joseph got upset with me for deviating from our usual dynamic where I stay silent and let him handle it.
I don't know. That doesn't seem like too much of like a boundary crossed. It's just her being like,
unless
hey.
you guys had like some set thing,
Yeah.
which it didn't sound like you did.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like OP's trying to be like, you need to call me mom.
Right.
Just being like, I love you like my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He read the message I sent and her reply, which said there was zero hostility in what she said. She was just making things clear. She said that whatever I thought I told them, her daughters took as me telling them to call me mom. And she was making it known that it was a no-go. She said she did not see a text and had no knowledge of it, that it was just what she was told, and told me not to text her number again. So I texted her again. I said that there was zero hostility, but that telling me not to text her again was delusional and hostile. I told her I would not text or email again after that. I said that Joseph and she made two of those beautiful souls, and we all love all three of them. I told her there was no question about who their mother is, that she gave them life, and I was just another adult female influence in their lives. I said they chose to call me their stepmother and asked if I was comfortable with that. I agreed. I told her that if they misunderstood their own question, I could not speak to their comprehension, but I believed they were all smarter than that. I said maybe it was more about her interpretation. I pointed out that every week there was a new problem after the girls went back to her house, and that in my world, this was just this week's problem. It just happened to be personal enough that I felt the need to speak up this one time. I ended by telling her to have a blessed one and sent prayers. No, OP, listen. Listen, OP. She said, don't talk to me again.
She said, don't
you
talk
talked
to
to her
me.
again, and not only that, but you ended it with
Yeah.
something that I would probably personally take a little bit passive-aggressive.
I mean,
if
you
I
weren't.
got
I
have a
think that was
blessed
the
one,
intention.
thoughts and prayers.
I feel like that was the intention. I feel like if you're only like if she's responding hostily or texting you in a hostile way, and the only way that you feel that you can respond is to match that energy, then at that point we just let hubby.
Send hubby back
Yeah.
in.
We say, hey, you take care of this.
Yeah. By the way, you can always take care of yourself by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime.
Do it.
Do it. You got anything else before we
No.
get this?
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. She ignored me, but acknowledged
Okay.
receipt of the message to Joseph, saying something like, it's her words versus the children. She shouldn't be seeing our private texts when it's this important. I'm glad it's cleared up now, but this kind of thing should stay between us. Don't give out my contact again. Joseph ignored her. So now I ask, am I the a-hole for finally speaking up for myself, even if it went against the keep the peace routine Joseph and I had? We didn't argue for more than 10 minutes, but I'm still left feeling misunderstood. I wasn't disrespectful or aggressive, right? We have some comments, but I think maybe that last one could have gotten a little bit past boundaries. Commenter 1. Not the a-hole, but in my opinion, this is ultimately your boyfriend's fault for not addressing her toxicity in the beginning. How did you not get your child evaluated? It's not her decision alone if this is his child. Courts can be involved and order it. Him being okay with y'all never meeting or having a conversation after knowing he wants a life with you is part of the problem. You think it's bad now? Wait till you have that baby she can use to manipulate her kids, telling them dad doesn't love them as much. Imagine how it will be when y'all get married. He needs to get this under control or you will be in for a lot of stress. That is the end of that story.
And there it is. And there it is.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you just gotta go through your boyfriend on this,
Going forward, I say
Yeah,
if
just
that
let
will
him
keep a little
handle.
bit more peace,
Yeah,
maybe he can stand up a little bit more, but
hopefully.
my fiance always chooses his mom first, and now I feel like a third wheel.
This should not even be a thing.
My 27 female fiance, 31 male, is the eldest. He has a brother, 27 male, who doesn't have a significant other and never has. I met my fiance 4.5 years ago, and it was the same story with him. I now see why. I met my fiance on Facebook, and it was his first relationship.
2 red flags.
By the way, this comes from Beppy and Heidi, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers.
We
We only know
don't.
what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments.
And we're the Lees.
Yeah, it's true. When I first met his mom and dad, I thought they were lovely. He stayed with his brother in the parents' mortgaged home. Parents stayed in another house that came with the dad's job. I didn't notice anything odd until a year into our relationship when we got our house together. He made it out so normally about getting her key cut. I wasn't happy because this wouldn't just be his house, it was mine too. And that he was away to get her a key when I hadn't even been consulted about the concept of her having a key, but they obviously had.
Ooh.
I put my foot down and he got over it after a while. We got that house in June 2022, and ever since then, every single weekend and day he isn't working all day, he goes out to their house. Only then did I realize it was a bit off from normal families. She is always pinging his phone, beckoning him around for the most stupid things. Hang flower baskets, dispose of yard waste, come see some new decor, chores that are shared between him and his brother, while I sit at home with health issues and our own needs abandoned.
Ooh, my grandfather kind of did this for a little bit. Not with his
Was the one that
mom,
would go over a bunch?
but he would go out after work and hang out with his like family, his
Yeah.
buddies, while my grandma stayed at home with the kids. And she was like,
Mm.
"I'm gonna stop cooking for you until you
Yeah.
come home and hang out with me."
Good. He is also panicking every month about having no money when his bank account goes into triple figures because before this house I had money and could buy whatever I wanted. He has no independent thoughts. He has to consult her about everything, and I know she is tainting us and rocking the boat with what she'll tell him. Him and I can make decisions on things. Then a day or so later, he'll do a 180 because mom said no, or mom doesn't think it's a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
Even though it would be our own responsibilities or finances in questions. Nothing to do with her. Yet they paid off his truck's finance, then another family member lent him money to get me a new car,
Oh.
and only a car that mom would agree on,
Oh.
as my car broke down and wasn't worth sorting. Then I just get told I'm responsible for paying back the mom and dad for paying off his truck, and he'll pay for my car.
Yeah, dude, you're in a poly relationship.
Yeah, it is weird.
Emotionally, not physically. I hope. I hope not, dude.
I had a mental breakdown at the start of the year, and they paid for me to have a month of therapy, something not discussed with me, but pre-agreed by him with them. So now I owe them more for that. The dad retired in February, and within 3 months of them moving into their mortgaged house, they blew their entire savings, $21K, on a new kitchen and garden slab.
Oh, no.
Now they have his brother paying their new car and the deposit for it, as they still don't know when the dad's pension will be through.
Oh, gosh.
She is always messaging him or calling him, guilt-tripping him, and putting pressure on him about the money we owe them because they are now struggling, which makes the financial pressure of our own come back to me. The only money they spend is on bare necessities and shopping. I work 26 hours a week, have numerous health and physical issues that cause this. I just managed to pay my fiance my share of the bills and an extra $100 a month. He earns more than twice as much as me, but is paying back my car that, as stated earlier, I wasn't involved in the agreement of. I hate weekends or when he has holidays because he goes out to theirs first thing in the morning and will return maybe just before supper and walk in like he hasn't been gone all day.
Does he like doing this?
Does he not want to hang out with you?
Is he forced to do this, or does he, like, actually enjoy it?
I feel like it's probably like he thinks it's out of obligation. Maybe he doesn't realize he doesn't have to do it anymore.
Oh, he can't say no.
Maybe, I don't even think he realizes he can.
It's not an option.
Yeah. Abandoning plans and tasks of our own to be there all day, every day. He doesn't have work. He's there. I spend all that time at home feeling neglected, abandoned, and worthless. She won't get a job as she has been out of work for so long. But I know, in fact, it's been because she doesn't want to not have the freedom of time to message him, need him, etc. She has her own husband, her other son, who she isn't as bad with, and her many siblings. I only have my fiance. I've told him that if their finances are that bad, she would get a job. So unless she gets a job, I don't want her messaging him going on about it.
Yeah.
Then he said, casually, she has money tucked away in stocks from when her first husband had a fatal work accident.
Fatal work accident, huh?
She have a big insurance policy on that one?
She probably did. Or she already spent that money.
So what has all the guilting and whining been about? And the brother paying their car? I don't see them or speak to them hardly because she always speaks to me in a way that comes across as making me guilty for my disabilities, limited energy for housework, money, or my clothing being branded. I use Vinted, etc. Because he is obviously going to be telling her everything or being asked about everything. Twice I've had to have an emergency tooth extraction, separate times, and he has literally walked me into the door and said, "Bye, remember to take your tablets," and gone out the door to theirs, leaving me with a sore, bloody mouth and emotionally needing someone.
So,
You had surgery and he left.
why are y'all together?
Yeah, why are we doing this?
And can we get an exit plan? I'm seeing a lot of things that aren't really healthy in this relationship.
Everything bad is coming from this man
Well,
not having a backbone against his parents. Like,
yeah,
It
that
is.
is true.
he leaves her for everything.
He does.
Have we talked to him about this? That would change a lot.
I think every time it's brought up, it's why are you making me feel this way? Why are you making me feel bad for hanging out with my mom? Yada 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 yada.
He needs a reality check.
Also, I think she needs a reality check like
The
OP
mom?
does. OP.
I think OP needs the reality check of why are we with this man if he's not going to be changing.
That's what I'm saying.
Unless we've had, yeah, and especially if we've had the conversation about like, I feel really hurt.
And OP, you are very dependent on your husband. That's not giving you any, like, attention. Can we get friends? Can we find some friends maybe? I know you have
Yeah.
like a lot of things kind of going against you. Can we find someone like a little support group outside of your husband?
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking, 'cause
some
we
other
need a-
plans.
We need an exit plan. I mean, it doesn't sound like you guys have talked about it. Either talk or find an exit plan.
Something backup. So you at least have
But-
support.
Yeah, also,
You can't be left after surgeries.
you can't,
This. Like I
you
don't.
can't. You're not good.
I don't care if it was a tooth extraction. It was still an emergency, and that's still a lot.
Yeah. What are they doing over there?
I got a nose job in December, financed and I'm paying for, that they don't know about because, in his own words, it's not worth the hassle and commotion it'd cause.
Oh, what?
He managed 2 days post-op of being with me. I had to have someone with me at all times the first week before something cropped up that he had to nip up there for. My eyes were both black and swollen shut. I couldn't eat and had to have help drinking. He went out to a friend's birthday at 3 p.m. this Saturday night, then never messaged or came home. I messaged him numerous times asking where he was and if he was okay. He replied after 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, just saying, "Mom and Dad's." Of course. Then never returned until 2 p.m. Instead of getting them to give him a lift home to sleep in his own bed, he went back to theirs and slept on the sofa and didn't even let me know.
Oh, lordy.
You know what's crazy, though?
What?
That she didn't even have to think, like, maybe she's out cheating on me and staying at another woman's. You genuinely could so easily believe, yeah, he's probably just at his mom and dad's house.
He's
Like,
probably hanging out with his mommy.
I didn't speak with him at all until night when the cat knocked something over in the bath while I was bathing, and he called through like everything was fine. What's the silly rascal done now? Now it's my day off, and I've spent it entirely crying because of how awful I feel. He left for work at 7 a.m. and won't be back until after 6 p.m. unless he nips round to theirs first on his way home, which is starting to become more regular. She has, and still is, bringing him up to be completely reliant on her. Have no survival for adult life and adulthood, and I feel the only way she's made out to him that it can ever get better is if I'm gone.
What?
If our house is sold, and if he can move back with them and build up his money again.
All right, that's probably what you got to do. 'Cause you can't be around this
This
guy.
is crazy. He better not believe this anyway.
Dude.
Everything he'll tell her, I know her solutions or answers would involve no me and no house together. I know I've missed out on a lot more, but this is the quick rundown. Advice on how to deal with this, please. He is the most wonderful, caring man outside of this. All this has tainted it all, and she won't give him the time or space to be my fiance. Quick edit to add, because of this, I've started resenting him.
Yeah.
And we have an update. I spoke to him.
Okay.
Told him exactly how I feel, the enmeshment relationship he has with her, the lack of boundaries, and how she hasn't allowed him to grow outside of the son she always had to herself when he was younger. I identified the issues and also how he can resolve them. He apologized and said he would try his best to work on those.
Okay, it's not gonna happen.
Consulting me first with our things instead of her, and that he can call her after work and anything she needs can wait for Saturdays where he can go there all day, but Sundays will be for us. If she messages him or calls him after he calls her, he will say, "We'll speak tomorrow," as spending time with me or catching up on housework, and will do the jobs Saturday. By the way, you can catch up on full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search up OK Storytime. There's just a little bit left.
Keyword.
Yeah.
Try.
Try.
I will try.
I feel like we should also in this moment set the consequences of what happens if he doesn't follow through. Of like, hey, and I'm really starting to resent you, so like I'm not sure I'll be able to keep doing this if we don't see a change, kind of thing.
Ooh, I think
That
announce
could be risky this
yeah,
early on.
Maybe announce this, and then if it keeps happening, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I agree,
know
I
what
agree.
you want them to be at least.
Yeah. It's just a try. That shouldn't be in his vocabulary right now. It's I will.
I will.
I got you.
I also told him I will not be implicated in a debt to them because this wasn't run past me. I said I'd happily pay my car to the family member instead, as that is my debt. We will not be accepting any money or anything from them, and I am in no way liable for any debts as I didn't sign anything. We're also going to start couples therapy so we both have support through this. I'll not be giving him any extra money. I already have set up a secret account that he doesn't know about. Good job. I will give the therapy time, but if there's no change or if he goes back on it, I'll be walking. He can then either buy me out or do a force of sale, and that is the end of that story.
Dang, girl.
So you know what you want at least. Like
Yeah.
she's got what the consequences are in her head.
Ooh, this is just not a fun spot to be in.
No, not at all.
Oh man, OP, freaking good luck on that.
Yeah.
My sister wronged me, but my mother demands that I apologize?
No, not apologizing. Screw you.
So, yesterday, my 20 female mother and I had a huge fight through text, and it escalated so fast that she ended up threatening to cut me off completely. What happened in those texts? It wasn't the first time a disagreement turned into something dramatic, but this one left me feeling more defeated than usual. By the way, this comes from user Lever Sinks, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so please let us know what you do in the comments. As Opie says, the whole thing started because my mom, my grandmother, and my sister were messaging me non-stop about coming home to the province to continue my studies there. Since classes are online now, they think there's no point in me staying in the city. I've been living with my boyfriend and his parents since the start of the pandemic. They've always made it clear that they don't mind having me around and actually prefer it over me staying in my old dorm. My dorm is really secluded, the signal there is terrible, and it would be hard for me to contact anyone. Living with my boyfriend's family has been easier and more stable overall. But every time I say I don't want to go home, they push harder. The main reason I refuse is my sister. Our relationship isn't good, and she has said and done things that made me feel genuinely unsafe around her. I've told my mother this over and over, but she keeps insisting that I should just forgive her and apologize for the sake of keeping the peace. My mom refuses to acknowledge the things my sister did or the effect it had on me. She wants me to lower my pride, step up and be the one to initiate a conversation as if none of the history matters. I said that before anything else, I want a genuine apology from my sister. But nothing ever happens. She just carries on like everything is normal. While we were chatting yesterday, I told my mom plainly that I felt pressured. Every time they call me, they make comments that chip away at my confidence. Things like it's embarrassing that I've stayed with my boyfriend's family for so long, that his parents are probably tired of me,
and that they might be talking behind my back. They kept saying I should go back to my dorm instead, or that I should spend my birthday alone there instead of staying where I feel welcomed. I explained that hearing those things hurts because it makes me feel unwanted, or like I'm causing problems by simply trying to study in peace. My mother's reaction was to ask why I thought she was embarrassed of me. She said she isn't embarrassed, she just cares about what other people might think of the situation. She said she'd rather have me stay with my sister and my grandmother than with my boyfriend's parents. She said I'm the one pushing them away because I don't talk to them much. But it's not because I don't care, it's because every time I open up, they criticize me immediately, point out what I'm doing wrong, or talk about me behind my back. It becomes draining trying to connect with people who only notice your flaws. When I told her years ago that I had been diagnosed with depression and anxiety, she just brushed it off. She said she had gone through the same thing, but just got over it. She made it sound like I was being dramatic, or just choosing to struggle. When I once left home because of a bad argument with my sister, I tried to explain the situation, but my mom didn't hear any of it. She just got upset with me, said harsh things, and hung up. Yesterday, when I told her that I didn't feel heard and that I needed her to listen and not assume the worst, she acted like I was blaming her for everything. I kept saying that I didn't blame her, that I understood she was doing what she believed was just best. I just wanted her to understand how her words affect me. But instead, she said since I say I don't have a family, maybe it's time I learn what it's like to really be on my own and provide for myself. I never said I didn't have a family. I said I felt unsupported and wanted a family who actually listened instead of tearing me down. She said she was struggling too, and that she's probably the loneliest person in the world, even if she doesn't say it out loud. At that point, I just felt numb. I don't trust anyone in my family anymore. They constantly talk about each other behind their backs. They point out every mistake, but get defensive when you mention anything they might have done wrong. They don't offer comfort when you're at your lowest. They expect loyalty without giving any in return, and they refuse to accept responsibility for the way their actions affect the people around them. Now my mother has made a group chat with me, her, and my sister. She wants me to talk to my sister like nothing happened. I don't want to do that. I don't want another cycle where I get blamed for emotions I've already explained 1,000 times. I don't want to pretend I'm okay being around someone who hurt me deeply without even acknowledging it. Before we continue, it just sounds like your mom has a favorite, and that's your sister.
It also seems like your mom just doesn't want any conflict, and she very much cares about the family image, and so she knows that if there is comment, you're going to talk about it. And they talk about it, but they probably only talk to each other. You have another outlet, and so I think that they are like, oh, the boyfriend probably thinks we're a bad family and bad people. Well, we're not, blah, blah, blah. But, in hindsight, like what you're doing, talking behind people's backs and not like justifying their feelings or, whatever, like that is not being good to someone, especially, your family.
Out of everyone here, I feel like your mom's doing the most and the worst by just not acknowledging anything and just saying like, okay, I feel like it's a competition between OP and her mom where she's like, okay, I did that too, and I sucked it up. Like, okay, I'm lonely, so what? Like I can't acknowledge what you feel.
Yeah, she kind of
feel bad for me.
It seems like she gets like mad or like judgy if you like choose to react differently than she would. Yeah. But that's just how people are. Obviously, like I'm gonna react different than my mom's gonna react in certain situations. Like, but other situations, maybe we'll react the same. Like, that's just how it is. I don't know. Like, not everyone is the same. You gotta, like, that's how it is.
And she's just treating it like it's nothing. When it's not, nothing. So,
yeah.
Back to the story. I don't want to be forced into a conversation where my feelings get dismissed again. I've begged my mother in the past to let me seek proper help. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder in 2018, and I kept asking to see someone regularly, but she refused. She said I didn't need medication or therapy. She said I should just overcome it the way she claims she did. I never worked a job either, even though I wanted to, because she always told me I shouldn't work while she was providing for me. Whenever I suggested working so I could help with the bills or gain experience, she just told me, no, But now she's telling me to support myself and see what it's like without them. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel tired trying to explain things to people who don't want to listen. I don't want to be cut off, but part of me wonders if it would even make a difference, because I already feel alone in that family. The only people who consistently treat me with kindness are my boyfriend and his parents. They listen when I talk. They don't judge me for my emotions. They don't hold things over my head. The last thing to add is about my dad. He hasn't been in the picture very much because when my sister and I were young, my mom didn't want him around. She believed he was unreliable and wouldn't let us see him. She didn't even let us invite him to our graduations. Whenever we tried, she would say she wouldn't go if he was there. I don't know the full story between them. My dad has said that he would help me financially if I needed it, but he's also not stable enough to fully support me. So I'm just left in a strange place where I don't feel like I belong anywhere in my own family. But by the way, you could be a part of our family by listening to full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and look up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left. Savannah, I don't know.
I just think that it is a sticky situation, and obviously, but I feel like it's kind of like you're talking to a wall. Like, they obviously don't have respect for mental illness and respect for, feelings and emotions and all of that. And so I feel like it's just gonna be, you're just literally talking to the wall. It's gonna, or even if you talk to them in one ear, out the other, they don't, it just seems like they don't understand. They don't really care to understand. And so it's just kind of like, it's gonna be an endless cycle. And for you, I feel like the best thing to do is honestly, what they're doing, say, oh, then we'll just, we won't talk to you anymore or whatever. And as sad as that sounds, because obviously that's not what you want. You just wish they would be more respectful and more understanding towards your situation. But they don't want to do that. They rather have you say that, oh, I was wrong, you guys were right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like no matter what you do, your mom is always going to bring it back around to her. And she says, well, I did this, so you can do it too. Or I did this. I don't know. Your mom is using a lot of leverage over your head, which is, again, her paying for your stuff or paying for you. And you want a job. You want to experience life. This is the perfect time. You know what? She's like, fine, I won't pay for you. And you're like, it's like opening the door for you. She's like, fine, you can leave. And you're like, you walk out that door. She shouldn't stop you. You can live your life. You don't need her to, have leverage over your head. Your mom sounds manipulative, especially when it comes to your dad and not, seeing where you're coming from. But let's finish up this story. I want to know how to deal with all of this from now on. I don't want to cut them off completely, but I don't want to keep hurting myself trying to get validation from people who refuse to listen. I don't want to talk to my sister unless she apologizes. I don't want to be pressured into situations that make my mental health worse. I want peace. I want space. I want to breathe without feeling guilty for existing. I don't know how to move forward, but I know I can't keep doing this. The only way you can keep, or, get away from that is to get away from that, OP. I'm sorry. You can't, have both here. You can't be like, I want my family to support me, or, I want my family. Maybe you can prove to them, I don't need you guys and I still love you from afar, but I don't need you guys to, help me be on my 2 feet kind of thing. Because if you keep doing this, they're just going to nothing's going to change. No matter what you say or what you do, no matter how loud you say it or how many times you say it, they're not going to change. So why keep wasting energy into that when you could put it into yourself?
My sister's future sister-in-law wanted a bachelorette invite. Nobody even knew her.
Does she even go here?
My thoughts have been going around in circles for the past few days, and the people closest to me are giving me different advice. So I now turn to Reddit for an outside perspective.
That's us.
This decision is meant to have the best outcome for the bride, my sister. By the way, this comes from Affectionate Leg. Affectionate Leg 2144. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Savannah.
I'm Sophia.
Did you forget?
Yeah.
I'm Keon.
Dude, it's not just about you. I just forget.
here to give some good advice, goofily. But we do not have all the answers. We only tell you what we would do in this circumstance. Let us know what you would do with pomp and circumstance in the comments. As OP says, she is the nicest person I know, and I don't want her to feel bad about not inviting someone who wants to be invited or to have a less awesome bachelorette because of a sister-in-law. I, 28 female, am arranging a bachelorette party for my sister, 26 female. We have always hung out in the same circle of friends, so I'm pretty sure I know what she wants and who she wants to celebrate it with. My sister has known her fiancé, 29 male, for almost 6 years, and he has gotten to know her family much more than she has gotten to know his. A month ago, her mother-in-law reached out to me to let me know that sister-in-law, 31 female, let's call her Bianca, would very much like to be invited to the bachelorette. Me and Bianca have only met a handful of times, and my sister only met her on family gatherings on her fiance's side. They are not close and have nothing in common. We usually unload after seeing her about her being a bit eccentric, telling far too long stories about herself, not being able to read the room, and creating awkward silences. A great example to a weird situation with her is when we celebrated fiancé's birthday a few years ago, and he got Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit. I freaking love Trivial Pursuit.
I knew she was going to say that. I was like,
Oh, I
something
love
about
it.
trivia, she's in.
Oh, I love trivia.
But you're so bad at it sometimes.
We decided to play, and fiancé jokingly said, I want to roll the dice. Nobody cared, or at least that's what I thought, but Bianca then says in a not jokingly way, no, I want to roll the dice.
Well, how about you both roll one dice? One of
no,
the die
there's only
each.
one, and only one person may roll at a time.
Dang it.
Bear in mind that she is plus 25 years old at this time. Beyonce continues, no, I'm gonna roll. And Bianca then turns to their mom and whines, Mom, I want to roll a dice.
What just happened?
What is going on?
What just happened?
You both went, whoa.
Getting
your mom
okay, but it
involved?
depends on how they're doing it. Because if it's so, Bianca is, remind me, she's
The
guy-
sister-in-law.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So sister of
The for our fiance.
yes, okay,
For father. No.
What?
Husband.
a sister of OP's husband.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. This
Wait.
is,
Yeah.
if this was just OP's partner goes, I want to roll the dice, and then she goes, no, I want to roll the dice, and he goes, Ma, I want to roll the dice. That's funny. That's peak comedy.
Well, no,
Oh, yeah.
it depends on how she's like. If she's
Exactly.
really doing it,
No, that's what I'm saying.
Peak comedy.
But
if
it
she's,
could
like,
be peak
doing it in
comedy,
a-
But
or
this
it
is-
could be like, who are you, baby? Are you a little baby?
but also this is like if you know the people, funny. But if this is like your first time, like one of the first times you're kind of interacting, like really interacting, this is cringy.
It really just depends on how they did it, and we have no proof of how they did it, so I can't say. But it could be really cringy, or it could just be funny.
My part of the family is stunned by this, but it seems normal for fiance's family. Their mom answers that, why can't you let her roll the dice?
Okay,
No
so
way.
now it seems like it's not a bit.
Yeah, that's not a bit.
Okay.
Oops. And an uncomfortable silence settles. I can't stand it for very long until I add, since it's his birthday, maybe he gets to roll the dice.
No, don't feed into the 5-year-old dynamics of this family.
And
I would. I'd be like, oh, baby, you want to roll dice? Baby, want to roll the dice? Too bad.
Yeah, I think you roll the dice.
Snake eyes.
You go,
I want to roll the dice. And Bianca pouts. This is incomprehensible to me and would only be acceptable for children under 10. But with this example of both sister-in-law and mother-in-law in mind, I will continue. So, mother-in-law wrote to me that Bianca wanted to come to the party. I don't know why she didn't write to me herself, so I'm thinking either she sent her mom to do her bidding or her mom might have done this without Bianca's knowledge. This put me in a tight spot because up until then, I hadn't even considered to invite Bianca and know that I never would have invited her in the first place. My sister, the bride, wants the bachelorette to be a complete surprise and have as little to do with the planning as possible. So I reached out to our closest friend group, which would all be invited, about inviting Bianca, but nobody knew her. From all the people we were planning to invite, about 12 people, everyone knew everyone because we're a tight-knit group. Nobody has ever met Bianca except for the bride, and me a handful of times. To avoid asking my sister if she wanted Bianca there, we decided to instead ask her to put together a guest list for the party. I feel bad for involving her. But anyways, Bianca wasn't on the list. By the way, you could be on our list of episodes to watch, like these full episodes. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app, and just search up OK Storytime. A little bit left. What are we thinking? Do we invite her or do we not?
I don't know. You guys don't really know Bianca.
Also,
Yeah.
not my like bridesmaids, not my groomsmen kind of thing. Like,
Yeah. It's
what?
not OP's wedding.
No.
Mm-mm.
And Bianca, like, is a little weird. And
And also
nobody
doesn't
really
know
knows
anyone.
her.
Like, everyone's going to be, like, laughing and, like, hanging out and stuff. Like, you know, having a good time. And she's just going to kind of, like, sit there because she doesn't know anyone. Because I'm sure it feels like she doesn't really know social cues. And so I feel like she would
Yeah.
just sit there in the corner
It's
instead of,
giving-
like, actually going and,
It's giving like when you have like a younger sibling or like
you have to
oh,
invite
you have
them.
or like the little cousin. Like you have
Mhm.
to bring them because like I said so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you guys are having fun.
I
but
feel
you have to
like the
bring
mom
'em.
would say that.
Yeah, and I'm
He's
like,
her vibe. You have to bring
no.
your little sister.
No.
It's just not fair.
She didn't let me roll the dice.
Yeah, I don't think you need to bring
No.
her.
No, this is
Yeah, I
not
don't think
no
so either.
easy. No.
Easy.
If I would have asked my sister about this, she would feel bad for not inviting Bianca, and she would rather risk Bianca be a wet blanket over her bachelorette than let there be a discomfort between her and her fiance's family. So I don't want to put the decision up to her. If I don't invite her and don't tell my sister, it might come up later on and make her sad and feel bad that we excluded Bianca. But if I invite her, I pretty much know the party won't be as much fun for any of us. So, am I the a-hole if I don't invite sister-in-law to my sister's bachelorette? And there is an update. I don't think you're the
I
a-hole.
think it's fine.
I think, you know,
Also, like, I don't know. It's
you
not your
also
bachelorette, so like, why would you be inviting
also-
people?
don't know. Well, the sister wanted it to be like a complete surprise, so she like doesn't know.
Oh, okay. So
But
she
like I think
wouldn't- okay,
didn't
okay.
Opie like make a list? Of,
Yeah.
Like, oh, who do you want on your like
Yeah,
bachelorette
was
list? And
Bianca on it? That's what.
wasn't.
That's my point.
Well,
yeah.
she wasn't on it, so
yeah.
like easy.
Why would you be picking? Yes, you are inviting them, but like, why would you be picking the people? You already have the list.
Well, also we don't know if mother-in-law just wants Bianca in there or if Bianca herself wants in.
I don't know.
We don't know if like that's not completely clear yet either.
I think if anyone causes a huff about it, you can be like, it's just the list that she gave me. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. All right, well, into the update. I did ask the fiance about this, but he's very much a dude about everything and said, "It's a tough call. I guess an invite couldn't hurt." I didn't want to press the issue further because I don't think I will get anything more out of him. But that's it.
There is an update.
There is.
Ooh.
Give me a sec. Okay, go ahead
Oh,
and
man.
get the read link again, Savannah.
Yeah.
Should be there at the very end after what you just read. The update is from 18 days ago.
Whoa! This is okay. I'm planning my sister's bachelorette, and a month ago, my sister's mother-in-law reached out to me about having her daughter/my sister-in-law to be invited for it. Reddit and my friends help a lot in making my decisions. I decided that sister-in-law would not be invited, and to never mention this to my sister as to not let this fall back on her in any way. There was also the question of if I should text mother-in-law or sister-in-law, since it seemed good to write directly to sister-in-law. But since it was mother-in-law who texted me in the first place, I wouldn't put it past mother-in-law to have done this without sister-in-law's knowledge. So I decided to text mother-in-law. The text reads, "Hi, we finally started planning the bachelorette party now, and I understand that Bianca would love to come, but we have decided to only invite the bride's closest friends. Hope you will understand."
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
It took less than 5 minutes for me to get a reply, so I know mother-in-law wrote in effect. She is very impulsive, so I know she didn't think through what she wrote, and it made me feel guilty and bad. She wrote, "But Bianca is her sister-in-law. I think the girls like each other very much, and I know that Bianca really wants to join. I don't even know what to say to her now. I'll have to ask you to tell her.
No.
I also know that Bianca's boyfriend would love to be a part of my son's bachelor party if he's not working." Okay,
What does that have to do with you?
Okay, well,
now
that's
you're
not
just-
up to OP.
now you're inviting not only the sister-in-law,
Yeah.
but also sister-in-law's boyfriend really wants to be a part of it too, if that's all right.
I'm sorry.
No, we don't know anyone.
Yeah, and also she's an adult. You can just tell her, "Oh, sorry, it's close friends only."
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that. You do it. It's your daughter.
I replied, We understand that this is not what you wished for, but we have decided to only invite the people that my sister hang out with the most. So I hope you'll understand. She only wrote back, okay. And she's never been this curt with me.
I don't care.
I feel like this is an insane guilt trip. I also feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders in making this decision, which makes me want to trust my gut in this because I usually feel more anxious when I feel like I've made a wrong choice. I understand the disappointment for mother-in-law, and maybe I'm in the wrong here, but I don't want to taint this story with my opinions more than necessary. So I'm asking you again, Reddit, am I the a-hole for not inviting sister-in-law to my sister's bachelorette party?
No.
No. And there is an edit. My decision is made based on everything explained in my original post. I can see how this update doesn't include much of the dilemma, so please read everything. Clarification! A lot of you have commented that I should talk to my sister. I get that. I've been thinking about doing that from the start. My sister is well aware of the behavior of both sister-in-law and mother-in-law. I think she makes an amazing job in balancing keeping a healthy distance while maintaining good family relations. She sees them at family events, but doesn't interact with them more than necessary. I know my sister doesn't enjoy sister-in-law's company and would not invite on her own accord. She wouldn't say no whether she wanted sister-in-law to join or not because of her kind nature. She would rather risk a downer on her once-in-a-lifetime bachelorette than knowing sister-in-law/mother-in-law would be disappointed and missing out. Maybe it is wrong of me to make this decision without consulting her. I know my sister well enough to know she wouldn't want her there, but would probably invite her should this be known to her. The reason I haven't told her is that I think she would be grateful not having to deal with this, not taking any blame in the decision making, and having a more fun, relaxed bachelorette than having to entertain sister-in-law. I would rather take the heat and never let this reach her, but that's the gamble. Will this reach her and affect her? And another side story that weighs on my decision is that my sister has already put a girl on her invite list that she has a strained relationship with due to past friendship drama. This girl is invited on the same premises that I think sister-in-law would be invited if my sister knew she wanted to come. To avoid having people be disappointed, I planned this with our other sister and 2 of her closest friends, and we all agreed in not inviting sister-in-law, though it was a big discussion. And about this other high-maintenance girl that sister wanted to invite, us 4 have made the pact to help keep sister's interactions with her to a minimum. I realize this sounds controlling, but my sister has asked me before to rescue her from this girl if I would see her talking to my sister at parties. So having 2 people to watch out for on this bachelorette is not on anyone's high priority list. Hope that explains a bit more. I'll try to clarify more if needed.
I think you're fine. I still think the same. I think you're good. Don't invite her. I think everyone's in agreement. All is well.
I think, yeah, I also agree with, like, not telling sister.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to. I think let her enjoy and let it, come back on you. Be like, yep, I'm the a-hole. I didn't invite her. It's all me. You cannot blame the bride. It's her day. Let her
awful.
do her thing. Yeah,
I'm just so bad.
I'll take the heat for this one. But at least, I know she'll enjoy what I have done for her.
Agreed.
My sister-in-law spent weeks trying to break our wedding rule. We didn't move an inch.
How about a centimeter?
My fiance, 36 male, and I, 34 female, are getting married in 3 weeks. And for the most part, planning has been simple and easy. We're having a small-ish wedding in a local hotel with 50 guests. Everything is being held on site. The ceremony, the dinner, and the reception are all taking place in the one hotel. By the way, this comes from Wide Opportunity 5989. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Savannah.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give some good advice, Goofily. We do not have all your answers. We only tell you what we would do in this situation, but let us know what you would do down in those comments. As OP says, my fiance and I decided early on that we wanted the reception to be child-free. Children are welcome at the ceremony and the early dinner we're having, but not for the party afterwards. I myself have a 10-year-old son who will be there for the ceremony and meal, but not the reception. The issue is with my fiance's sister, Lisa, 38 female. She has a daughter, Chloe, 11 female, and has started insisting that Chloe be at the reception. Lisa is the only girl in a family of 5 children, and due to this, she has rarely been told no, even into adulthood. My fiance and I have been firm on the stance that no children would be allowed in the reception, and she is fully aware of the on-site childcare. We have booked a separate room in the hotel especially for this purpose. However, she is adamant that Chloe stay with her. If it was just me and my fiance, it wouldn't be too much of a big deal. We can handle her. However, she has begun hounding my future mother-in-law, whom I get on with really well, and has even begun messaging my mother on Facebook to try and get them to convince the two of us to let Chloe be at the reception. This is not okay with me or with my fiance. Neither one of our mothers are in the best of health, and they don't need the stress. She either doesn't realize or doesn't care that if we allow her daughter to attend the reception, we have to allow all the children to attend, and we wanted to allow the parents to have a fun time in the evening. Even my son isn't going to be at the reception. We don't see them often. However, last Sunday, we were all at my future in-laws for lunch, and so the kids could see each other, and she decided to bring it up. She decided it would be a good idea to try and corner me in the kitchen to try and change my mind. Once again, I reiterated that there would be no children at the reception, and well, this didn't go down well. I swear, she was close to throwing a grown-up tantrum. I've never seen anything like it before.
What a good role model for your daughter.
Yeah, this girl sucks. I just told her that the little ones in the other room were better behaved than she was and to grow the heck up, and walked around her back to the others. Her tantrum didn't stop. After this scene, my future mother-in-law asked if we would be willing to bend the rules we have for the reception for Lisa, but the two of us were still firm on the no. Usually, I would just stick it out and not care, and if she hadn't started getting other family members involved, but now that she has, it's beginning to stress me out. I don't think that we're being unreasonable with our request for no children at the reception, but I don't know if I can handle this for another 3 weeks. Am I the a-hole for sticking to our child-free reception rule? There's an update.
No, this is your wedding.
Literally not at all.
And the fact that you have, like, the kids can go in a room and hang out after everything is phenomenal. I feel like every other parent is like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, we actually get to not worry about our kids, or, like, you know, we can actually, like, party a little bit without, like, adult supervision, all this jazz. It's great. It is a small wedding. What?
Yeah. Like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Why do you need your 11-year-old to be there? Just so you can, like, take care of her and, like, talk, like, you know, like, I feel like you would, like, why people, I'm sure, like, I don't know.
You know what? Sorry, go for it.
For me, at least, like, my family weddings, like, we go till, like, early morn.
Oh, yeah. Filipinos, we go till we have to get kicked out.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
same. Till we get punted out.
Yes, I agree. We go until there's either, you know, people are kicked, or the people are getting us out of there, or there's an ambulance called, which is what happened last
Either
time.
or.
Whichever comes first. But like, this is not your wedding. Like, so I don't understand why this girl thinks that she can just be like, maybe I'll, like, if I just, like, bully her and then, like, make her whole entire family, like, against her, then maybe she'll let me bring her. Like,
well, people are
what?
now breaking. Like, the mother-in-law is like, just what if you just bent the rule a little bit? Because people are just tired of it. They're just like, shut up. If this is gonna make you shut up, great. But good for you, OP. Stand strong, hold firm, do not falter, do not let her win. You got, just, again, give her the ultimatum of, like, if you keep pushing, you're not invited to the wedding anymore.
yeah.
Sorry.
I'd just be like, listen, it's my wedding. These are the rules, and everyone is following them. You are the only one that is having an issue with this.
Yeah. What makes you so special?
Yeah. There's an update. We got married last Saturday, and everything went perfectly. Everyone and everything was where it was supposed to be, when it was supposed to be, and if there were any issues, I didn't hear about it. My older sister arrived a week and a half before the wedding, and she's like a miniature tornado when she gets going. She firmly told me not to worry about Lisa and that she would deal with her.
Nice.
I have no doubt about that.
Nice. Love that. Clutch.
Lisa brought up Chloe coming to the reception once again the day after I posted, and my husband, I love seeing that. Aw. And I told her that if she tried to bring Chloe in, the both of them would be removed. We didn't hear anything more from Lisa following that instant. A few people wondered what Chloe thought about it, and she told us that she thinks adults are boring and she'd rather spend time with her cousins and other kids.
There it is.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Lisa to use Chloe as, like, a weapon.
Yeah.
Of, like, hi, OP, can I, like, really want to spend time with you at the wedding?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
So there's that. When my older brothers turned up a few days before the wedding, all of them were laughing about how my sister was doing her guard dog routine with Lisa and wasn't letting her anywhere near either of us or our mothers.
Amazing. You gotta buy her like a nice dinner or
Oh, yeah.
something.
You gotta be like, girl, you did it again.
Like, you are the tornado that keeps on giving.
My sister's tiny, 4'11", and petite, but a powerhouse behind it. I love that. It turned out that my sister was the one keeping her at bay, and you can bet she got a very large bottle of wine in thanks. For my husband and I, the day was as close to perfect as it could get. We only found out 2 days later that Lisa had tried to sneak Chloe into the reception and had been intercepted by all of my siblings. I have 6. Well before reaching the hall, and had been told that she could either send Chloe upstairs with the other kids or they could both leave the event completely. Knowing it would make her look bad and she'd never hear the end of it from her family, Lisa sent Chloe upstairs and has been sulking since. There have been a few passive-aggressive Facebook posts, which no one seems to care about, but that's about it. By the way, you should care about listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left, but LP, you did it. You got your wedding.
Shout out to your sister.
Screw Lisa. And honestly, I don't think it's Chloe's fault.
No, Chloe was never. It was never Chloe's fault. She even said she didn't want to hang out with the adults. She's like, "You guys are boring and old."
Yeah, Chloe's cool.
She's like, "I want to hang out with the kids."
It's just her mom.
6, 7.
So no epic temper tantrum, no forceful removals of irate sisters. Just some words from my terrifying sister, and that was that. Everyone had a good time, and when we went to check on them later, all the kids were passed out in positions that gave me aches and pains just from looking at them. So we know they had fun. I want to thank everyone again for their insight. It was very helpful and set me at ease that we weren't in the wrong for sticking with our rule. That's the end.
My mother-in-law wanted me to have twins so she could keep the other one.
That's insane!
I've been married for about a year and a half, but my husband and I were in a relationship for 6 years before tying the knot. My husband is Indian and I'm not, but we visit India about every 3 to 6 months to spend time with my husband's parents and travel around together. By the way, this comes from Deleted. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And Opie says, initially, I didn't have any issues with my mother-in-law. Our relationship was good and everything was fine. But over time, I began noticing some behaviors that made me uncomfortable. For instance, my mother-in-law sometimes feeds my husband using her hand or serves him food in front of me. She often reaches out to him during meals, making sure he's well fed, while I sit there feeling like I don't exist. It makes him look like a mama's boy, and honestly, it gives me the ick sometimes. I know Indian culture is like this, and I respect that, but I've talked to my husband about it. I told him I'm not comfortable seeing it, and while he understands, he promised to avoid his mother's action and try to avoid confrontation because he didn't want to cause any drama. Things started to get worse when one day on a trip to India, my mother-in-law suddenly stopped talking to me. She wouldn't look at me, wouldn't acknowledge my presence, and avoided me entirely. I was so confused and asked my husband what was going on. He noticed her behavior too, and we both felt like something was off. When we got back home, my husband confronted her. He asked her what was going on and why she was acting like this, but she completely lost it. She started shouting so loudly that the neighbors could hear, threw things around, banged doors, and even my father-in-law couldn't stop her. My husband was crying, and it absolutely broke my heart. I had never seen him cry before. It was devastating. Mother-in-law didn't apologize. Instead, she started pretending to be sick, like she was trying to get sympathy and attention. I wasn't sure if she was genuinely sick or just faking it to avoid facing the situation. It was all just so frustrating and emotionally draining for me. Fast forward to after we got married and invited my in-laws to visit for 2 months. We thought it would be a nice opportunity to spend time with them and travel outside of India. Wait, so we don't get any information?
About what happened after that? Nope.
We don't get any information about why she threw that whole fit? Like, was it because he said, hey, I need boundaries, and she was like, ah? But during this visit, I noticed some changes in my mother-in-law's behavior. One minute, she would smile at me, and the next, she would look at me with anger. She would serve my husband and father-in-law food, but never mine. Then she said something that really broke me. She told me, You should have twins and give me one. I'll make him like my son. Sometimes she would quote that in India, mothers come first before God.
Oh, what?
I was in shock. We both ignored her comment because we didn't want to cause another huge scene. She thrives on attention, and if she doesn't get it, she throws a fit like a kid. At home, when my husband was at work, my mother-in-law wouldn't even smile at me or talk to me. But as soon as he came home, her mood completely shifted, and she was all smiles and conversation again. I always stayed in our bedroom to avoid her. It made me feel like I was a guest in my own home. I told my husband about it, and at first he was defensive. But eventually he agreed to observe her behavior, and he saw it for himself. It made me feel a bit relieved, like I wasn't crazy or overreacting. We eventually spoke to her about her habit of serving my husband food in front of me. My husband explained to her that while it might be common in India for older generations to do that, it's not appropriate anymore, especially since she's not in India and now that I'm married to him. She agreed to stop, but still didn't fully change her behavior. It was clear that she wasn't willing to put in effort to respect our boundaries, even after telling her our boundaries, which she agreed to. My mother-in-law still served my husband and father-in-law during one of our dinners. She served them and forgot that I existed, even though I was sitting right in front of her. That was the last straw. I couldn't take it anymore. I told my husband that I was done tolerating this, but I begged him not to confront her because I knew she would cause a huge scene. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep his cool anymore, so he confronted her, and as expected, she threw a massive tantrum.
No!
She came to me and said, I did it because I'm a mother too. I was furious, but my husband and I agreed not to give in to her drama anymore. We ignored her for the rest of the vacation, and even though she tried to create chaos, we stuck to our decision. After they left, my father-in-law kept thanking me and apologizing for his wife's behavior. But she never admitted to anything. Instead, she threw another tantrum when my sister-in-law confronted her and asked why she behaved that way. She continued to deny that she did anything wrong. For the next 6 months, we didn't talk to her at all, and she did not make any effort to reach out or admit her wrongs. But I hope you admit that you need to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left. My final thoughts are that clearly your mother-in-law is a piece of work, but your husband seems to be on your side. So let's just let your husband deal with his mom from now on.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Crazy that the father-in-law has never said anything until now.
Yeah! This whole time, the father-in-law is sitting there like, oh my God,
Do you know why?
someone.
Do you know why?
Why?
Is he
'Cause
scared of her?
he's
His
scared of
mothers
her, yeah.
come before God.
Yes. He's like, finally, someone.
Thank you.
I couldn't do it, but someone did it. Thank you.
Then on my husband's birthday, she tried to call. She insisted on a video call, and even though I didn't want to, my husband answered. She apologized in a baby tone, saying she was sorry. She laughed when my husband asked her if she realized what she did. It was chilling. She was like, Now she's been sending me messages saying she misses me and is sorry. But she doesn't even know what she's sorry for.
Yes. The
Hey, I'm
vague
sorry.
apology.
Why am I sorry? I don't understand.
And then she throws another tantrum.
I just don't know what to feel about her anymore. I'm not sure if she is genuinely sorry or just wants to restart the kind of cycle. I'm terrified that if I forgive her, she'll just go back to her old ways and this whole cycle will repeat. I don't know how to move forward from this. Every time I hear my husband talking to his family, I feel this anxiety and panic. I'm not sure how to cope with this constant fear of her drama and the toll it's putting on me. I don't have the heart to talk to her anymore. Anyone who has the same mother-in-law? I don't know. Good luck. At least you have a good husband. That's all that matters.